Oh, I'll explain it once we get rolling.
Rolling
on.
Guys remember that song?
You see us rolling?
I should get some pants like that.
No, why not? Yep.
Okay.
Well, it might rain.
Pants like that.
Podcast is live.
We are.
Stokes' feet stinks.
Hey, did y'all see my kid dancing today on Facebook?
I didn't see
anybody
that.
See that? Oh man, you get a chance, you got to go catch my kid dancing on Facebook.
I will check that out. Which kid? Oldest, youngest, middle?
Youngest. He's
Oh,
got
that's
some
nice.
moves, man.
Surprising. He's what, right?
Hey.
I want to see Stokes on the dance floor.
Ew.
So while we wait for a couple people to file in to, make sure my mic's turned the right way. That would help.
I seen his niece running circles around him with a football though.
Well, I didn't want to run her over him, I just had to play along. Couldn't stiff arm her or anything. What do you want me to do?
Why not?
Because
You gotta learn from early age that life is gonna knock you down. You gotta get back up.
Here's your first lesson.
Hey, JD, I have your son. Your son is going to be a bully. Why is he laying on a dog like that?
Dogs love it.
Well, we got one spectator, two. So we're getting there, but we can go ahead and start it because it's always archived anyway. So we'll roll it, or we'll live it. It's not going to be taped; it's live. We'll live it. Welcome back, everybody, to the mid-season AFL podcast, and we have a full house tonight. We have Stokes. What's going on?
Shit.
Matt Callan. Is that who I think it is? Is that Chad fan?
Yeah, it is.
He's listening to the podcast. He's in the chat right now. What's going on, Chad fan? Do you he says, get me in this shit. Do you have Madden, and are you looking to join a CFM? Because I think that would make Nino happy, which would be a strike against you, but we like you. Anyway, he's going to be talking in chat. If we're about 30 seconds ahead of you, so that's why our responses are delayed. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the podcast. We can have Nino add you to our Facebook group, and we can talk about what would happen to get you into AFL. But anyway, we have Stokes, we have Sham. What's going on, Sham?
Sup, motherfuckers?
We have JD, who has power back on and internet back on. What's up, JD?
I'm back, baby.
And we have Magic. What's going on, Magic?
Nothing.
Fascinating.
I thought I was going to do something. Sorry.
So tonight we're gonna try something a little different tonight. We're gonna try to have guests come on. We have 4 AFLers lined up to come on for about 10 minutes apiece. We're gonna talk about their team, talk about them. If any of you listened to AFL Advance a couple episodes ago, where Shaman and I had Fisher on, we talked about his team. We talked a little bit about getting to know him. AFL has a bunch of new faces this year, so it's going to be a good chance to get to know guys. One of those new faces is Frank. He's the Baltimore Ravens owner. He's going to join us tonight. We can talk about his Ravens season. We can talk about AFL 420, and then we have some old guard AFL guys joining us tonight. We have SJR, who's going to come on. He's the Bengals owner. He's been very active in trades recently. He's the guy who sets us up with Daddy Leagues. He's been with us since Madden 11. He's going to come on later in the show. Scott Bailey, the Redskins owner, who started off super hot and has now dropped 2 games in a row. He's made some good trades this year. He is going to come on and join us. And then at 8 o'clock, I think the guy that'll have everybody the most excited, Reese, is going to come on and join us. He started off hot, lost a couple games, and then he lost a mind-boggling game. Is that the right word, Stokes? In PS4, we're going to talk about that too. And with Reese on, we got Reese booked to come on last of the 4 because while we're going to try to limit these guys to 10 minutes, I feel like Reese is the one that's more likely to go long, and it'll probably be entertaining. So we'll see what happens. But before we get any guests coming, so let's see, what time is it? It's 8:15. I probably won't start reaching out to guests for another 15 minutes or so. Let's just go around real quick today and talk about a couple topics. First of all, the patch came out recently. Came out around 4 or 5 weeks into our AFL season. Stokes, what was your reaction to the patch? How much of a difference do you notice?
to be quite honest. I don't notice any difference. I still play the game the same way. I think that defense is playing a little bit better, I guess, in general, but overall, I'm not really. I guess I may be in the minority, but I still feel it's the same game to me. I'm still able to do what I was able to do beforehand, and defensively, I still feel comfortable. It was just a matter of getting used to the game itself and what you can and can't do in comparison to last match.
Now, Magic, you're probably of the four of us on this show the highest volume of a passer. Have you noticed any changes in defenses since the patch came out?
I think the pass rush is getting home a little bit quicker than it used to be. Before you could kind of sit there in the pocket and pick who you wanted to throw to. Now it's kind of more of I need to actually figure out where the defense is bringing pressure from, what my hot read is going to be, do I have time to throw a deep ball, and it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit faster. I wouldn't say it's like changing the game though.
I think what I've heard has made sense. The guy that runs and plays good defense anyway doesn't notice it as much. The guy that passes can notice a little bit of a difference. Now, JD, I know you're a guy that probably looks at it closer than most. I looked at it the day it came out. I noticed especially the deep blue zones were breaking on the ball, which they just refused to do pre-patch. What have you noticed about the patch?
I mean, the zones definitely follow the players a little better, and they break on the ball a little faster. But there's still some serious holes out there. There's still some glitchy routes and stuff you can do. It's less prominent on All Madden for sure.
And speaking of All Madden, that is one topic that we kicked around last season that we ended up changing via a poll. That's not going to be a topic of discussion this season. But what is a topic of discussion right now is XP sliders. It was a big topic of discussion today. No changes are imminent. We don't plan on doing anything season one. We are just taking the temperature of the league so far. Sham, overall, your thoughts on XP sliders, what you're seeing with guys right now, if they need to be upped or if they should be left where they are. What do you think?
I really don't care if they're touched or not, but I do think that, like position by, it's all according to position. Definitely O-line could be bumped, probably get the highest, but everything else after that, probably have to go through with like a fine-tooth comb. Like I had suggested to SJR earlier that, as far as a test league, he said that he did do a test league. I don't know how deep into it that he got, but just going week to week to see how, we can adjust it per position.
And Stokes, you saw the post taking place today. What are your thoughts on everything going on with all these XP conversations? I think O-line is the most noticeable position. I'm not going to lose sleep no matter what the decision is. I definitely, if I had my way, I would at least like to see O-line improved.
I definitely would like to see offensive line sliders moved up. And I understand a lot of the back and forth. I understand both sides regarding, whether players will become overpowered or glitchy or just too elite too fast. And I think one of the biggest reasons that we play CFM is for the team building concept. And when it's taking years and years and years and years and years to develop a player or develop a certain attribute, it's taking all year for one player to get one attribute to a certain level. And I don't think that is that's not what I want, at least. And it's not just about, whether I traded certain players to get certain types of players. It's about the team building concept, and that's the main thing for me.
This XP thing is a popular topic. A lot of people are very opinionated on it. For me, it's not something I'm going to be super passionate about either way. I guess if I had to choose a side, I would say I'd rather be on the side that, you're going to be able to build players because, it's a 32 team league and, only 12 guys are going to make the playoffs. And for the most part, you're looking at the same rotation of like 15, 16 guys that are going to make the playoffs consistently. So the other half, and even more than half of the league, is just here for the team building. And when you have something in place that limits that or slows it down and just makes it more of a monotonous process, I could just see where that would be a bad thing for the league. But what we also don't want to have happen is team building becomes so easy that everybody trades for 99 speed guys, doesn't care about any of their other ratings because in a season they're going to be beasts anyway. Now, JD, you're a little bit on the other side of the coin. You want the team building to be more of a challenge. So what are your thoughts right now as it stands?
I mean, I'm partly with Stokes, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's whatever. But I don't think people understand sometimes how, I don't think they stop and slow down and think about how the math will actually work out. And, I think Joker was online saying it earlier. Like if we feel like O-line is not progressing fast enough, if you take everyone and increase them by 50%, you exacerbate the problem because you make everyone get 50% more. Well, if O-line is not getting enough to begin with, you just set them back 50% more because you increase D-line 50%, right? Does that make sense?
It makes sense the way you're saying it, because if you're comparing it of like an offensive lineman isn't going to grow as fast as a running back, so when you give them both the same boost, the running back's just going to be that much stronger than an offensive lineman over time, because 50% of 1 versus 50% of 10, 500 is a bigger number
right.
than 50. That obviously the
and
math.
I'm specifically thinking about interactions like if D-line is progressing at a normal rate of speed and O-line is lagging behind, if you add 50% to both, well, now the D-line is going to grow faster based on a bigger number. So I think that you have to increase it if you see something that's lopsided, but just increasing everyone across the board does nothing. Even if you feel like everyone isn't progressing fast enough, if you say, well, let's just give everyone 50%, well, you haven't really done anything. In 6 seasons, you end up with more 95s and more 96s, but so does everyone else. You haven't changed anything. So I don't understand tinkering with it unless you feel like there's a specific position like O-line that's fallen behind and you need to make sure that the game doesn't get out of balance.
I looked today and I'm averaging 135 rush yards a game, which, isn't great, but it's good enough to where you would think that at some point one of my offensive linemen would be able to progress. And I have the game up on screen here, and I haven't added anything to any of my offensive linemen this year at all. And I'm going to scroll through here, and I don't think I can do anything. Like, here's my left tackles, here's my left guards. I have not touched these guys. Cody Whitehair is 86 overall. He's a 25-year-old quick development player, and I can't add an awareness. I can't give him awareness. Okay, so Jordan Morgan, I can give him 1 awareness point. So I guess I got that going for me. But you guys get the point. I think we're all kind of hitting on it. It seems like if there is a problem child, it's O-line. And like JD said, that if we just give a flat rate to everybody, then O-line isn't really catching up. They're just going to actually be at a larger distance behind, even though on the surface it looks like we're increasing their attributes. So that's a good point. Before we get off of the XP topic, I'm sure we're going to hit on it again when SJR comes on. He's scheduled to come on here in about 5 minutes. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to talk about on XP?
No, sir.
Nope. All right. Well, guys, we are in week 8, and we are going to be advancing to week 9, hopefully tonight, but at the latest tomorrow morning, I believe. I'm on a bye week, so I'm a little bit checked out on when we're advancing. A little selfish there on my part. But with week 8 comes the trade deadline, and we have seen some trades today go down. Some big names going. Fletcher Cox is now a Tennessee Titan. I thought that was a great trade for MVP. Let's see. Sham was super active today, and honestly, Sham, as much as I'd like to talk shit to you, I really like a lot of the moves you made. Stokes, you were kind of privately raving to me about the linebacker he picked up.
Yeah, Gerard Davis. He's a beast. I love that guy.
And then getting Davis allowed Sham to be able to trade Shaq Thompson, the linebacker he got from Carolina, for Melvin Gordon. So, Sham, your team's pretty much set now, huh?
Pretty much. Honestly, after the conversation that Rodney and I had in the party chat last night with JT and Jeff B, Rodney was drunk, and I was trying to talk him into just to take Kelsey, but he was trying to sell me on me moving Peters. I wasn't sold last night. I woke up this morning like fuck it, and now there we have it. So
Why do you want to trade Travis Kelce? He's the man. Just for the record.
Honestly, I mean, you know what? I'm not even going to lie. Like, you know how I just get trade happy. But I mean, but it still wasn't a bad move. It wasn't like a typical sham trade.
No, it was a good trade. I like Shaq a lot. I mean, if you're not looking for a pass rushing outside linebacker, he's perfect because he's got good zone. He's got good block shed. He's really good. I mean, you traded him, so it doesn't really matter. So.
Right to a division rival at that. Costa wanted them too, but RVD just so happened to, get there first.
Justin said he had to get offline so he didn't witness trade rape in party chat. It's interesting from Rod's perspective that he would trade for Kelce when he already has Greg Olsen. I know Olsen's a little older, but now you have two of the top 5 tight ends in the game. And with the trade deadline tonight, unless he's able to move Olsen, who I know is on the block, but unless he's able to move him, he's going to have 2 of his best assets at tight end. So he's either going to be running a bunch of single back ace or he's going to have one of his better players on his team on the sidelines on every offensive play. Stokes, you like that strategy?
Well, I employed that strategy in PS4, so I mean, I can get down with it as long as you can make it work. It's difficult to try and get them both fed though, so that's a problem that I think he may have. Trying to get both tight ends fed is very, very difficult.
And then one trade that happened a couple days ago was our guy Magic getting AJ Green into Indianapolis. Magic, have you been able to take AJ Green out for a spin yet? Was he on the field during your game against SJR?
Yeah, he was out there. I may have made a mistake.
What happened?
Well, because it went from my receivers are such bums, I should spread it around and make the right read, to I've got AJ Green, I should just throw it at him, and that was bad.
There's 4 guys on the other team standing right next to him. He's open. He's AJ Green.
Yeah, he's open.
He's open. He's open if he's on the field. All right. Well, let's try to link up with SJR here. When I go into party chat, sound's going to cut out a little bit, so I'm going to try to get SJR in here. Invite. Stokes is playing FIFA right now while we're on this podcast. Stokes is a multitasker. All right, so guys in chat, Justin, anybody else that's in chat that wants to let us know if when SJR joins, I told these guys to set their party chat up so we can hear what they're saying. If you aren't able to hear them and if there's just like silence and it sounds like we're all responding to a conversation that you aren't hearing, just let us know in chat and we'll get them squared away, but they should be good to go. I think SJR is on with us now. How's it going tonight, SJR? It's going well. Going well. Right before you came... What's that? I heard the baby in the background. So you got 2 little ones at home now, right? All right, well... Okay, Danny says that they're saying they can't hear you. So SJR, can you go into... Press your... What is the button? The PSP button, Stokes? The PlayStation... What is the button I always forget?
The PS button?
Oh, the PS button. Go to party chat settings and then always allow. And then also go to microphone settings and turn up your microphone volume all the way.
Turn my headphones up. Turn my headphones up.
Thank you, fellas, for letting us know. So with SJR on here, whenever he gets his mic squared away, we are. Danny says he hears the baby. We're gonna talk a little bit about XP, but we really want to spend more time talking about. We want to get to know these guys as people. We want to just find out, like, are they part of dad life? SJR obviously is. We want to find out. Hey, do you play Madden sitting up, standing down? That's one of the questions we like. Sham is cussing out people in chat as we're chatting. Good job, Sham. And then we also want to just find out what's going on with your season and trades you've made. And SJR is one of the bigger traders here in AFL. And this past week, he's been as active as anybody. So, SJR, are you good to go?
Yeah, it should be good now.
All right. Well, first of all, we hear the kids in the background. Now, most of us know you pretty well. We've known you since Madden 11. You're an AFL original. You were here when we started building this place. You're the guy that sets us up with Daddy Leagues every year. You helped commission a couple of restart leagues. You really held AFL together last year. You're the guy who gave us all the rookies to draft from, so you're a huge part of AFL. But for the newer guys, let's just do a little get-to-know-you session here. So you have 2 kids. How old are they?
2.5 and 3 months.
2.5 and 3 months. So if you're playing SJR, just like if you're playing JT, if you're playing Sham, if you're playing JD, you're playing myself, you're playing RVD, you're playing Mustang, we all have children in the house. So if we randomly pause the game, don't get mad at us. It's because there's a kid crying. It's not because we're raging. I might be raging, but it's because there's kids. So we got plenty of dads around here. SJR, when you play Madden, are you sitting down in your chair, or are you standing up, or are you like Magic and you're laying down?
Sitting down. I have to be like right up next to the TV too.
Okay, now I know Stokes, you respect that, right?
I'm pretty close to my television, but I'm sitting down like basically level. I would say I'm 5 feet away from my television.
I feel like Stokes is making out with his television when he plays. When I showed you my game room, the first thing you said was, "How can you play so far away from your TV?"
Bruh, your TV is like 50 feet away, man. What are you saying?
I got a game chair. Wow. I pull the game chair up to the TV when I play. It doesn't stay in the middle of the room. I think we've had this answer. Magic, you lay down. Sham, you sit down next to your TV, right?
Yep.
It depends on the game.
And JD, you sit down, right?
I stand up.
Oh, you stand up?
Whoa.
Look at you.
The whole hour?
Yes.
Interesting.
My daughter says, Dad's in his alpha stance. Stay away.
That's funny. All right, SJR. So this past week, you have made a ton of trades. We talked about the AJ Green trade earlier. To my eyes, it looked like you were loading up on draft picks. But what you pointed out to me, which was accurate, was while you were loading up on draft picks playing for the future, you were adding to the now. Talk about what the direction is of your team right now.
Just first thing I always try to do is find all the aging, older players and try to get anything that I can for him. So, the first trade that I made was Carlos Dunlap for a 3rd and a 4th, which is pretty cheap, but he wasn't seeing the field, so anything I can get. Then I had about 3 or 4 running backs, and I really only needed 1, so I shipped all those out. And then I had a lot of linebacker depth. So really, the only starters that I feel like I dealt were Eifert, Ross, which took me a while to come around to trading him, but I'm just not seeing speed being a big impact as it was last year. And then I lost one of my starting O-line, which he was 25, shipped him to JD, so good luck boosting him at 100% JD.
I'm good.
And obviously AJ Green, which you guys talked about. But yeah, I'm looking pretty good for the draft coming up. And I didn't trade off any of the youth that I didn't want to trade.
Well, you talk about the draft coming up, but we still have a season in front of us, and your Bengals have ripped off a couple of wins recently, and you're right there in the race with the AFC North. A couple of things have happened recently. Care Bear has slowed down. He's pulled back to 4-4. You've gotten 3 wins under your belt. You're at 3-4 with your victory over Magic this past week. So just talk about your team right now. Obviously, you're in a tight division race. How are you feeling as far as your personal skill level in Madden 18, how you're meshing with the team you have, even though right now your team's pretty much changing on a weekly basis, and then your confidence as we go toward the second half of the season?
Honestly, we're 7 games in here. I truly feel like I could be 0-7 or 7-0. I feel like I had a chance to win just about all the games so far. I had a 14-point lead against Stokes, and I just started turning the ball over. I know the game versus Nino, it was like 10-0 going into the 4th quarter, and just kind of came apart. I'm just really struggling on offense right now and trying not to beat myself, and that's kind of what's worked for me in those 3 wins that I have.
You've had a tough schedule, too. You talked about playing Nino. You've also played Stokes. You played Frank, the Ravens. I think that loss might come back to haunt you if you don't make the playoffs. You have beaten Flip. You beat Kreppel, which was a huge win to pull you kind of off the schneid there. And then you beat Magic recently. I'm looking at the second half of your schedule. A lot of winnable games there, so I think you're going to have a good chance to pull yourself back into this race. Outside of that, we talked about you. We talked about your team. We have a few minutes left with you here. Let's talk about XP because I know it's a conversation you're pretty passionate about. We have JD on here who made some good points about you don't want to do a flat rate because all you're doing is creating more distance. Just tell us your thoughts on where we stand XP wise and what you think would be the right move.
Halfway through the first season and kind of similar to last year after the first season, you look at the XP that the majority of your team's accumulating, and it's really not that significant. Looking on Daddy Leagues right now at my roster, I think the highest XP that I have on any player is Adams, which I traded for from Green Bay, so he must have taken pretty good care of him. He's got almost 15,000 XP. But the next highest that I have is 6,000, at 100%, and based on how much stuff costs. I mean, to get anybody well-rounded to like in the mid-80s, it's going to take 4 or 5 seasons plus at 100%. So I don't know what the right answer is right now, but I don't think 100% is it.
So in general, do you think a flat rate is still the best, where if you increase them by 50, just do everybody by 50, or are you more open to the idea of let's get position specific?
Yeah, I think there's so many variables at play. On offense, you've got 5 different position groups, and you can only pick 2 at a time, whereas on defense, really you can get almost all of your starters XP every week.
Yeah.
So, taking that into account, and then the fact that, EA for this changed the amount of... Did I get cut off?
No, you're still there.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I know, just looking at the linebackers, you get, like, only 400 or something if you're a fast linebacker that's in the starting slot. Whereas if you're a fast wide receiver, you get 900. And you take into account how many different attributes are important to each position. On defense, there's probably 15 or so different things that you want to increase. So.
Yeah. And, I agree. I see the point about how you don't want team building to be super easy because you don't want these guys to end up looking like mutt cards. But I'm going to go back to what I said earlier in the show. There's a big portion of this league that they may only make the playoffs once or twice, may not make it at all. And it's more interesting if after games, if you can go in and even just add an awareness point to a couple guys here and there where I'm 4-4 right now. If I was 1-7, granted, if you're losing, you shouldn't be getting the XP bonuses as if you're winning. But still, if I was like losing all my games and I'm going in, I can't increase my players. It feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a fun process. And we want to keep it fun, but we also want to keep it realistic and sim. I think that's actually the goal of everybody on here. We're trying to find the right answer. I think some good points have been brought up. SJR, is there anything else you would like to talk about, either your team, yourself? One thing I want to mention is about the Daddy Leagues thing. Thanks again for always setting that up. Thanks for all you do for AFL, especially when restart season comes around. But is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we move on?
No, I think we... Did
we lose him?
I think still there?
Yeah, we're still here. We didn't catch what you said, though.
My mic's going in and out. But
that's okay.
Just saying that I think we already beat the XP horse to death, apparently.
Yeah,
so
we've been killing that horse today. All right, SJR. Well, thanks for hopping on tonight. Thanks for all you do for AFL, and we'll talk to you later. See you, man. All right, guys, we're going to go from one AFC North owner to another. We're going to bring in Frank of the Baltimore Ravens. But before we do that, one thing we wanted to do on this midseason podcast was go through the divisions and talk about surprises. Let's start with that the AFC North. Stokes, Care Bear is 4-4. He was 3-0 or 4-0 at some point. SJR is right behind him at 3-4. I'm in the wrong division. And then you have the Steelers and Flip at 2-6, and then the Ravens are sitting there at 3-5 in third place. There we go. Any surprises here? I'm a little surprised that the Bengals are having the season they are, 3-4, but not too surprised, I guess, because SJR can be a little bit of a slow starter. Any surprises stick out to you about this division?
I guess the biggest surprise for me would be, and it's not really a surprise, but I don't know. Flip is 2-6. I mean, I had him tagged as the division champ going into the season, or I expected it. But when I did the over/unders for the season for this division, I don't think I had anyone over 8.5, and it's bearing out right now. I mean, it's going to be a tough division, and everyone is still in it right now, so that's interesting.
That is interesting about your 8.5 because it looks like the way they're going now, 9 wins could win it. And Sham, let's look forward in this division. Browns at 4-4, Bengals at 3-4, Ravens at 3-5, Steelers at 2-6. Who do you think is going to take this one?
I'm going to go with Huggy Bear. Like even though he's in a rough patch, he seems to be the only like real consistent one. So until I see otherwise, I'll go with him.
SJR did win the first matchup between the Bears and the Bengals and the Browns. I got the Bears on my mind, but they will have a rematch later in the year, and that could be for all the marbles. Let's try to bring in now the owner of the Baltimore Ravens and Frank. Let me invite him. Invite. Okay, he has been invited, so when he comes on, we will start talking about his team. Magic, you've had a chance to play a couple of these guys, haven't you? Were you going to say something, JD?
I played
Yeah, I think this would be a good time for me to cut out. I'm going to go play Rodney.
Okay, JD. Real quick, though, while we have you on here, we haven't really gotten into your thoughts so far on your team and your season. Any quick overview thoughts? I know you've had a couple losses due to power being out, but just if you could recap your season in about 15 seconds, what would you say?
Slow start, bad golf trade, coming back.
All right. Well, good luck. Good luck. You're on the way back. This is a huge game tonight, guys, between the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Bucks. We talked about on AFL Advance, and I encourage you, while you're listening to the podcast, to tune into this game because these are two teams now in the NFC South that, along with the Falcons, are vying for that top spot, and this Panthers-Bucks game is going to be huge as we move forward because what's interesting about the NFC South is the Falcons, Bucks, and Panthers are all in it, and none of them have played each other yet. This is the first time any of those three teams square off against each other, so the power struggle for that division begins tonight, and we'll be doing this, so I won't be able to watch the stream, so a little bit jealous of you guys, but enjoy that game. But let's go back to the AFC North because I think Field of Dreams has hopped on. Are you with us?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We're going to find out if the guys in chat can hear you, but welcome to the podcast.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
You are no stranger to being on the air because you and your roommate, Care Bear, have been doing AFL 420. Where did the idea come for AFL 420? I find it to be incredibly entertaining and a great addition to the league.
He's actually right next to me. I think our original idea was to try and do a podcast and like do talking. I was like, dude, why not just have fun with it? We'll try and do like it as a like actual show, and that's kind of where it went from there. I mean, he started the videos obviously, but.
And then, so when you're doing this is a pre-recorded video, and then you upload it to Facebook. How many takes does it usually take you guys to do it? Is it a one-take thing? Are you guys doing multiple takes?
It's always been multiple takes. We've gotten better about it. We plan it out more. We do dry runs where we don't even take a video now, and we run through the lines and adjust them as we go to see how it switches.
Stokes, to me that's impressive when you talk about guys doing this and they're talking about doing dry runs or doing multiple takes. Just, I know you love this stuff for the league. What are you thinking when you hear that?
Absolutely, it makes me very happy that these guys are putting in this type of effort to provide entertainment for the league, and it certainly adds something to the league as a whole. And we're really grateful that they do this for the league, and because they don't have to, and they do it because they love to have fun, and I'm just glad to have these guys a part of the league. I was fortunate enough to be on for one episode, and I'm looking forward to being on 420 again.
It was the lowest rated episode yet.
Well, you know, I mean, what I do is I bring the ratings down.
What did you say, Magic?
I'm shocked to hear that Stokes says he likes it because I'm pretty sure somewhere in there he said it's fun. I like it. That just doesn't strike me as Stokes.
I'm a fun guy.
No one believed that.
All right, Frank. Well, we appreciate what you do with AFL 420, but let's talk about you now. Let's get to know you because you're a newer guy around the league. A lot of us, before the AFL 420 video started, really didn't know much about you. Let's just find out about you. We know you and Care Bear are roommates. How long have you guys known each other?
I've known him a couple of years now. 3 or 4 years probably. Met through a mutual friend.
Now, I know Magic is thinking this. When you say mutual friend, were you both crushing on the same girl? Yes.
No.
Same question. Okay. Well, that's good.
She's not hot. That's too bad.
And how long have you guys been roommates?
Less than a year.
Oh, wow.
And then when you guys are playing, when you're playing your games, is he sitting in the room watching? Is he watching on stream, or does he just not really care?
Depends. Sometimes we play. Sometimes we literally have to turn off the game so both of us have the Wi-Fi. Sometimes he'll watch me play. Sometimes I'll watch him. Sometimes we just do our own thing.
And then when you guys play against each other, are you guys sitting in the same room?
Oh, no. I hate playing in the same room with people because then they can see your playbook and all that crap. So, no, we usually go different rooms, but we are usually yelling at each other.
That's awesome. We need your producer for AFL 420 to do like a behind the scenes of a Browns Ravens game. That would be fantastic. All right.
I think the Browns Ravens game is week 16.
That would be big. Especially if this
15?
division keeps staying tight.
Yes, it's very close right now.
All right, Frank. Well, we know that you're not a member of Dad Life, correct? So you're not one of the many dads in AFL. No. When you play, are you playing standing up or sitting down?
I'm usually sitting down.
All right. He's one of us, Stokes.
Yes. We enjoy that.
And Frank, how long have you been playing Madden?
Probably. I haven't been playing online until last year. Basically, I started playing online a little bit before I joined you guys. Other than that, it was just playing against Care Bear.
Very nice, very nice. Well, hopefully we're making your online experience fun and you're enjoying it. Let's talk about your team now. Your Ravens are 3-5. You won your first game of the season, then it's been up and down since then. You've had some brutal injuries to your wide receiver core. For a while you were playing without both Mike Wallace and without Jeremy Maclin. Just talk about your season. You're 3-5 right now. What's happened and what's going to happen in the rest of the season?
I mean, for the most part, the first game went pretty well, and I think that was, of course, pre-patch, so that might have helped the situation. And no matter who the running backs was at that point, has done well. So that's mostly been what I've been doing, is trying to run the ball. Sometimes I go to the pass too soon. I make a lot of bad throws, obviously with the picks, and just slowly trying to fix that, mixing the plays a little bit better.
Well, you won your last game against the Dolphins on a miracle play at the end. It was almost controversial, too, because it looked like the receiver, I guess, who was it, Torrey Smith? He looked like he might have been out of bounds, but he came down inbounds, got the big catch at the end. It was a great play to win that game, get you a big win, and now you got MVP next week before your bye week. I think you got to find a way to win that game if you're going to stay in this race. Can you get it done against MVP?
I got to think that I can. I mean, I think I've set my team up to be in a good spot now. I'm playing a little bit better. Hopefully I can stop him on the offense and make some plays.
All right, well, is there anything about your team we haven't discussed, or anything about you or your AFL experience, or anything in general that we haven't discussed that you'd like to get off your chest tonight?
When are you racing Magic, just for the record?
Oh, trust me, I'm thinking that all the time. I'm like, we got to have this guy over. So we're drinking gin, right, Magic?
I mean, I'm drinking gin. I'm not gonna force my ways on you, though.
Oh, trust me, that's probably not. That won't be a problem. If it's alcohol, we'll drink it.
I got a new bottle of Bombay recently. I'm very excited.
I I saw you opening it the other day.
All right, here's what we can do, if it's okay with you. I can come out on a Saturday night. We can do it. We can do a show, and then I'm gonna need to sleep there, and then I'll leave in the morning.
That's fine.
All right then.
Frank, if you have a girlfriend, or if Care Bear has a girlfriend, do not let her come over that night.
No. Don't worry about it. Care Bear has a big bed. He's more than happy to fit 2 people when he comes by.
Kinky.
Magic, I hope you're a spoon. Hey, you're a spoon, right?
That's awesome. All right, Frank. Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for letting the guys in AFL get a chance to know you. And obviously, thanks again for all you guys do with AFL 420.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for having me on, and I'll see you guys later. Good luck to everybody in the season.
Thanks, man. You too. All right, guys. Well, we're going to use that as our look at the AFC North. And now let's turn our attention to the NFC East. That division is E-Dub with the Giants, Roman with the Cowboys, Bailey with the Redskins. Stokes, what's the ruling here? Should I say Redskins or should I say Washington Football Team? Like, what do I say?
You can go on there. I'll call them the Washington Football Team. That's just me.
You know what it is? We've done enough of these shows now where every time I've gotten to the point now where every time I say Redskins, I feel like, oh God, I just did it. But like I'm like anybody that's watched football for their entire life. Like they've been I'm doing air quotes, the Redskins to me since I was a kid. You know, like playing Tecmo Bowl with my dad. It was like, oh, I'm playing the Redskins. Like, you know what I mean? So it's it's like calling the Chargers San Diego. So I hope when people hear me say it, I'm not like, oh, you know, it's just I'm trying to be more conscious of it, but I don't know. And then I feel like when I say Washington Football Team, I'm just bringing more attention to it than, I don't know. It's just weird. Anyway, that's Bailey's team, and he's coming on the radio show next, so I'm sure I'll say it about 6 or 7 times. And then we have Stokes' guy, Emo, and the 0-8 Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, my God.
Who, any week now, Stokes, they've played 8 games, but any week they're going to break the 100 points for mark in the season.
Oh my God! I mean, I had such high hopes for him. I just don't. He's had 80 points so far this season.
You know, that's terrible.
You know what'll help him score points is the 2 offensive linemen he got when he traded away Fletcher Cox, his superstar D end, and his fast first-round pick Derek Barnett tonight for those 2 offensive.
Definitely get that offense going, those linemen. My God.
But go ahead.
Mike Grable can catch a touchdown. Whatever this guy he traded for can catch a touchdown.
In his defense, when you employ 8 running backs, you probably need some offensive linemen.
He doesn't have any?
That's true. He doesn't have any defense. All right, so this division here, guys, Bailey's going to be coming on soon. I'll be sending the invite. Not much of a surprise based on what we talked about midseason. Right now it's Bailey and E-Dub fighting for the division lead. Both of these guys are 5-2. Roman's hanging around the 500 mark. He's sitting at 3-4. And Emo is looking ahead to the draft, even though he has no draft picks left. Stokes, in your opinion, is there anything that surprises you about how the first 7 or 8 games of the season's played out in this division?
I mean, Roman has been a pleasant surprise. He's played a lot better against some stiff competition, and I'm impressed with, you know, he's won a couple games that I didn't really expect him to win, and I'm impressed. I'm saddened by the way Eric is playing. He's just terrible. And E-Dub, I still don't know what to make of E-Dub. He seems to be a bit aloof as far as the season goes, and I'm just waiting to see him just turn it on and then, you know, become the E-Dub that we have come to know.
You know, what's interesting about Roman is he had that week 1 game against E-Dub where he was trying to dive into the end zone. He fell down at the 1-yard line, and it cost him the game. If he wins that game and E-Dub gets a loss in that game, they're both sitting at 4-3. So as funny as it was at the time, it's going to be painful times in Dallas if that lapse of judgment costs him a playoff spot. I really hope it does. All right, so we are going to now bring in Bailey. I'm going to invite him. fish debate.
Please.
Oh,
You know-
I think I saw black and blue. I think. Or was that? Is that a couple dresses ago? I don't know.
Yeah, sure, that thing. But yeah, except it's a fish instead, and it's a wedding now.
I'll let you guys take this offline and talk about it in your own private chat. But joining us now, joining us now is the owner of the Washington football team. Hey, look at me, Bailey. Yeah. Bailey has made several trades. His team has been active in the trade market. They're 5-2. They're in first place tied with the Giants. Bailey, how's it going tonight?
Good. How are you guys tonight?
Doing well, man. Doing well. We'll let Chad and Justin and Danny let us know if they can hear you. We can hear you just fine.
Okay.
So Bailey, your Redskin. Oh God, Stokes! It took me 10 seconds to break that rule. Bailey, your squad started off 5-0, super hot. Looked like the team to beat in the NFC. Then you had a great game against Danny. I turned off the stream at one point where I thought you were winning the game, but my memory, I wasn't paying super close attention to it. I thought you were winning. I even chalked it up as a Washington win in my mind, and then I looked on the next day and saw you lost, and then you followed up with a loss to Roman. The Danny loss, it is what it is. Two really good players vying for that top spot. What happened in the game against Roman? It was one that caught a lot of us by surprise because not only was it a loss, but it was a lopsided loss.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the way my season's kind of played out is solely based on the patch. I mean, pre-patch, I was playing a lot of online ranked. I got really comfortable with the way that the defense was reacting, got comfortable with my offense. And then since patch, I really haven't been able to play that much. Been pretty busy. My actual first game post-patch was the game versus Danny. I was up early. I was actually up most of the game, and I can't remember. Towards the end, I either threw a pick or had a fumble. He came back and scored a touchdown, was up 3, and then I didn't have time to get back down the field to tie it up, and I think I actually threw an interception to end the game. So honestly, it's been all based around the patch. I just got to get some time to really get into the game again, see how the defense is reacting, and because if you look at my stats, offensive stats, defensive stats, everything, I'm throwing a lot more picks now. So.
Yeah, Kirk Cousins is sitting there with 12 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. David Johnson's running very well for you, averaging 6.9 yards per carry. He was a huge pickup for you. Your top receiving threat is Jordan Reed, the tight end, and Demaryius Thomas at receiver, and you're also getting David Johnson involved in the passing game. So, Bailey, you and E-Dub are both sitting at 5-2, but you've yet to play this year, correct?
Yes.
So
that's good.
That sets up, to me, a great second half in this division. So what needs to happen? You talked about getting more game reps in, getting more post-patch experience in, but just as your team goes, I assume you're done trading before the trade deadline. What needs to happen for this group of players you've assembled in the Washington football team and you to move forward in the second half of the season and win this division?
Really, it just comes down to being disciplined on offense, playing my game. I've always been kind of a pass-first guy, so it takes me a little bit to get used to the zone defense because that's what most people run. And like I said, post-patch, I'm not comfortable with it, so I'm throwing a lot of picks. And really, that's the story of my last 3 games is turnovers. If I fix turnovers, I think the team will fall into place. I have a lot of youth on this team. I'm happy with the team, so it's really just turnovers.
All right, well, that's a look at Bailey's Washington team. Now let's talk a little bit about Bailey, the guy, because you joined us in Madden 12 for a brief cup of coffee, and then you were back with us in Madden 13 when you shocked the world and won the Super Bowl in Season 2. against Ridge or against Hans Seattle Seahawks after you beat Ridge in the NFC title game. So a lot of us have known you for a long time. But for the newer guys, and then maybe for those of us that don't know you on a personal level, let's just talk about you. Now, you recently got married in the last year, correct?
Yep, coming up on a year here.
That's cool. But you're not part of the AFL Dad Club, right?
Not yet. That might happen soon, but not yet.
Your time is coming.
Shoot that club up. Shoot that club up.
And you are in the right league because we are all completely understanding, and we'll be there for the dad advice too. I know when my daughter was born, I was in Shams PM almost every day. Like, am I ever gonna sleep again, dude? Please tell me this is gonna happen. Okay, so when you play Madden, are you sitting down or are you standing up?
Definitely sitting down.
There we go. Another one of us. Yes, Chad fan, you can call in. Yeah.
I've tried standing up, and I just can't. I can't do it. I get too jittery. I start walking around.
See, that's me too, and I feel like I have heavy feet, and I would just wake my kid up or something. So I have to kind of sit down and relax. Chad fan, yes, you can call in. Maybe in the second hour of the show, we'll make some time for you. I see your messages there. Okay, so how many leagues are you in currently?
Right now, it's just this one in PS4. Usually, I really stick to just one, just because I don't know. I don't have the time to schedule games. I can play, but usually the scheduling side of it is where I kind of shy away from getting in a bunch of leagues. I don't want to tie up every single night with a scheduled time. So.
Well, for those that don't know, Bailey's been a commish before. During one of my many step-aways from AFL, he was a commish. He's always been a trade mod. He's always a guy that we lean on whenever we're thinking about making big decisions in the league. We always pull him in. I know we've pulled him in before for various... When we're doing owner selection, he's a guy that we lean on as far as his opinion on guys. So you're thought of very highly around here. Is there anything that we haven't talked about, either about you personally or about your team or this game in general? Let's talk about that for a second. How are you liking this game in general? You talked about how the zones are tough to get used to and it's easy to turn the ball over, but how are you liking Madden 18?
I honestly really enjoy it. I feel like the playing field is a lot more level in this game. Your elite guys are not. Some of them are still blowing people out all the time, but I feel like almost every game I've played, I've had a chance to win, if not. But I haven't really blown anybody out. You know what I mean?
Me?
You don't count, Sham. Okay. You're a nobody.
I'm just saying now. He threw a bunch of picks.
You won the game, but you didn't cover the point spread.
Yeah, 50.
You only won by 38.
But no, I'm enjoying this game. I always have a lot of fun with the game because I've never been one to try and break the game, so I like to play it as a football game, not as a video game. If that makes sense.
Mhm. No, I get it. Stokes, I hate to bring this up. I feel like I never bring this up on the show, so maybe I will. When I won my Super Bowl in Madden 16, I honestly didn't lab at all. I didn't play any online. I really just played my AFL games and that was it. And I feel like that's when I played my best ball. I would just get on there and be like, oh, okay, well there's a linebacker down on the flat, so I can't throw the flat. Let me try to get the corner out in. Just making Madden reads. Didn't even know it was strong in the game. I mean, you pick things up along the way and you realize that the PA wide receiver in is OP in that game, or verts are OP, but it's just one of those things where I think if you can simplify it and not overthink it. Magic made the comment that he opened up Madden out of the box, played Joker, and won, and we were all surprised. He's like, guys, I'm not doing heart surgery here. I'm playing Madden. So I know, Magic, you're an advocate for don't overthink the process.
Yeah, man. I mean, try your best to throw the guy that's open, but when you're out here trying to break the game and then it doesn't work, and you see dudes who are elite from one year to the next and they struggle at the beginning, it's like, hey, you haven't found the glitches yet. See you in 2 months when you're suddenly 14-2 playing the same exact game. It's
true, and I would laugh at that, but I'm 4-4 right now, and I need my glitches. They're coming. All right, Bailey. Well, thanks for hopping on tonight. We appreciate it, and go ahead.
Just one last thing, I'll let you guys go. I just wanted to say that I appreciate the time you guys put in, especially in the off season. I mean, honestly, I think that's one of our most active times without. I mean, we don't have a game to play, but everybody's all over the boards and everything. So I don't know. I just really enjoyed that this year. So I just want to say that I appreciate what you guys put in. I know it's a big time commitment. A lot of people don't see what it takes behind the scenes to put everything together. So it's a big shout out to you guys, and we appreciate it. It definitely makes the league a lot more fun. Keeps guys coming back every year.
Appreciate it, man. That means a lot. We all take pride in that, trying to make things fun. And as someone who's been part of the commish process before, that everything we do has a reason for it. When we're starting the league, when we're doing the whole. Danny and Justin are both saying that Bailey's ankling for a better team in Madden 19. Guys, if you haven't learned,
I'm happy with my team.
If you guys haven't learned by now, the better teams go to the guys that are willing to spend. No matter what format we use, no matter how we reveal teams, you spend money, you get a team.
I had the second pick, and I got the Redskins, so
yeah,
I'm happy.
Yeah, you got a good team, and as we've all learned, it really doesn't matter what team you get. Just make a couple trades, get Eric on a bad day, and he'll trade you his entire team for a couple offensive linemen, and you'll be good to go. Or Reese, Hassan Reddick. That's a great transition. Bailey, thanks for coming on. We are going to go now to Reese. Thanks for hopping on tonight, though, Bailey, and we'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, have a good night.
You too. All right, guys, I'm going to add Reese now, and I know when I go to this menu, it quiets down the stream, but...
I got something.
Well, go ahead. Go ahead. What do you got?
I appreciate Bailey at least pointing out the off-season work that goes into making the game fun. And June 7th, and it's like, oh man, what's AFL going to do for Madden 18? But I mean that comes along with you, Josh, because we all know that you're the GOAT off-season commish. So it's just expected.
Here we go. Are you trying to get another rage out of me?
I'm not. That was a compliment. Backhanded at all.
Okay.
I mean, you're like the tallest midget out there, man.
Thank you. You ever seen a bald midget though?
No. How is that?
Brent Troy is bald.
Who is?
Is he bald or is he she?
Brent Troy.
I don't know, Stokes. You're the midget expert. I just.
Hey.
All right.
What are you?
Well,
5'6"?
Guys are super fired up for our next guest here. So let's not keep them waiting any longer. Let's get Reese his party chat invite. Oh God.
I shouldn't joke that way.
Now, Sham, while we wait for Reese to join us, you had something you wanted to ask Stokes, right? What's up, Reese?
Oh shit, creepy.
Well, Reese is here now. We'll hold off on the Stokes comment. Okay, so Reese, welcome to the show tonight. How you doing tonight?
What's up, man? Doing good. How y'all doing?
Doing well. How are things going down in Florida? Are things starting to get a little bit back to normal here, or is it still strange as it ever was?
Real life hit a couple days ago, as y'all probably know. I was blessed enough to not lose too much as far as like power and food in the refrigerator and stuff like that. A couple neighbors, trees fell on cars, trees fell on houses, but for the most part, everybody's safe. Insurance companies are coming out, but it's getting schools are being let back in and stuff like that, so it's getting back to normal.
That's good. Good to hear. It's a scary thing to go through, and like I just can't imagine it. Especially like I was talking to JD, and I know you're a dad. It's like when you have kids too, and it's like you're not even thinking about yourself. Yeah. It's like if I don't have power, what am I gonna do? And I just can't imagine.
I sent my kids out. I put my son and my daughter on a plane. I sent them to Dallas. I got family out there.
Good.
I just rolled it out here.
Good. That's good to hear. I'm glad everything's starting to get back to normal. That's obviously way more important than anything we're going to talk about tonight. But let's get back to the topic at hand. First of all, Reese, you are one of the more polarizing figures in AFL. I like you. I think a lot of guys like you. I think they get a kick out of your personality. But with that comes a lot of opinions about you. And guys really enjoy it when, for whatever reason, they enjoy it whenever you take a loss. And we're not going to hide from the topic everybody wants us to talk about tonight. last night, I think it was, or maybe the night before, you took a very
Two nights ago.
2 nights. Have you slept since then? 2 nights ago, you played your arch nemesis T-Mag and lost 74-0. Just what happened?
Man, I lost that game 14-0, bro. The way I look at it, it was in Chase. Not to take anything away from in T-Mag or whatever, but I came down. He scored on some bullshit, some crap, and then I got a fumble, and then it just went downhill from there. Actually, that game's gonna be a blessing, though, to be totally honest with you. And I knew he was gonna try to run up the score. He got about 4 or 5 fumbles. I threw about 4 or 5 interceptions. But after the game, man, I was, like anything else that I take pleasure in doing. I erased everything. Honestly, I erased my playbooks. I erased the way I approached the game. I kind of went to let's take the game out. Let's start over. I did a lot of labbing for about 12 hours. I took off work, just seeing different things. I think what happened was, all my routes, everything I like to do was coming to one side of the field. It was easy to play me on defense, and I wasn't really playing football at all. I stopped that with a new playbook because I didn't know anything. My first game was in Chase against Bailey, who just got off. I beat him pretty soundly. So I'm not going to say I'm going to now win the division or go undefeated, but I think people, I myself, that game was a blessing in disguise. I could have lost to Stokes. I mean, Stokes done beat me like handily, not scoring a point, just running the ball. I could have lost to anybody and not took the direction I took after that game simply because it was T-Mag. So since it was him that beat me like that, I was like, yo, I can't continue to play this game like this.
Well, there is a very silver lining here for you, and that is the fact that you guys are in the same division in AFL, and you get 2 cracks at him in AFL. And as much shit as he talked after that game, you guys are going to get a chance to get the rematch twice now. And I imagine if the Cardinals come out on the winning end, you're going to let him know about it.
I'm gonna be real with you, man. No, I'm gonna say good game. I'm gonna keep it going. I think that was part of my issues. I think you kind of touched on it in the preseason or whatnot. If you notice, when he came out, everybody was like, "Oh, put me over here, put me over here. I want to hit a fest." I wasn't gonna give him that. I mean, he already got the game. That's everything he was gonna get from me. I said good game. You beat my ass, and I kept it going. But it did a little bit, but I'm going to get the W, and I'm just going to keep it going.
We don't believe you. You need more people. You're gonna say something.
I'm gonna say Stokes. Honestly, I'm gonna say good game, and I might post a McGregor meme, Diaz 2, whatever, but that's about it. That's really about it, man. I mean, I love this game. I'm kind of having this. I'm not having that issue no more. I think it's all mental, to be honest with you. I was having the same thing Bailey was having. Prior to the patch, I was throwing the ball all over the place. I really saw the game for what they gave us, and then after the patch, I'm like, I didn't know what I was playing. I was just pushing buttons, man. Honestly, these guys were breaking on balls. I saw cover 4 every down. So I did some things to my game. I think it's gonna be a fun. My bye week was this week. It's gonna be fun in AFL. It's gonna be fun in Chase. I think I'm gonna be all right.
Oh, guys! Breaking news from Tampa Bay: the Panthers are driving down the second quarter. The Bucks are winning 14-13. Cam Newton just got sacked and got injured on the field. I'll let you know when I see an injury update, but that would be a game changer for.
JD playing the same defense over and over, probably.
Yeah, he likes what he does. He'll make minor adjustments within the defense, but yeah, that would be a huge blow to the Panthers' playoff hopes. So right now it's 14-13 Bucks. The Panthers are driving with 25 seconds left in the quarter. All right, Reese, let's talk about your division.
Oh shit! A shoulder tear. Shoulder tear.
How long is he out for? Did you see?
Damn, Sham, you just jumped out of your seat for that.
Shoulder. He was
shoulder tear. Shoulder tear.
Sham, you are a sick person. You're sitting here like, ooh, it's a shoulder tear. He's gonna be out for a while.
That's funny.
I mean, listen, we're trading Luke today and Shaq, and now losing Cam. Yeah.
Sham's the guy that when Stokes loses a running back on stream, he comes to my PM. Stokes lost a running back. Let's party. It's like, trust me, I'm excited. But Reese, you were getting some interesting comments in chat. MVP says Reese saw cover 3 and cover 6 every play.
MVP beat me 14-6, man, and I thought MVP was better than what he was. I know he's gonna probably post the Ass Man game and all that, but you know, when I see something the first time, and I may struggle with it, but then I go in and I try to figure it out. I don't know. If I ever play MVP again, he may win or lose. He'll say he played a different person than he played the first time. I mean, people are gonna talk shit. That's what they do. I expect it. I talk a lot of shit, but at the same time, I like me. So, you know, that's the way it is.
Stokes, we got a question in chat. I don't think it's from an AFL member. Maybe you know about this. He wants to know, he's just a guy that came into our stream, if anybody can share play Madden 18. Is that something anybody can do? Or do you know anything about share play? Or does anybody on here know about share play? Is that something that's pretty easy to do?
What are you talking about, like game sharing? Like
not game sharing. I think it's similar to streaming, but it's a share play where I think what he's saying is
where they see what's on your screen.
Right, they see your screen.
I've never tried it, but I did it with FIFA and EA game. I would expect that you'd be able to do it with Madden too.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple process. What we do in this league is we stream our games, so we never really have to share play, but I'm sure if you Google it, it's a pretty simple process. I think even if you just press your share button, I'll do it right now. You press your share button and just press start share play, and I'm sure it'll give you a list of your friends, so good luck with that, whoever you are. All right, Reese, let's talk about your division. You are 3-4, so are Joker's Rams and T-Mag Seahawks, and Danny's 49ers are 8-0, and they've beaten all three of you once. Danny is playing at a super high level right now. He's the favorite in the NFC. Go ahead.
He's playing good. He's playing good ball, man. I kicked myself. I had that game. Danny won. I mean, Danny was blowing me out the first half, and then he threw pick sixes back to back to back, and then I actually went up a touchdown, and then I got stupid with the ball. So yeah, that's gonna hurt. But yeah, hats off to Danny. I feel like he had the worst team going in. He's 8-0. He's done beating everybody in the division. It's his division to lose at this point in time right now, and I don't see him losing it. So I think everybody else is playing for the 6th seed, if that. If I don't know, I don't even think 10-6 gets you in now. What's in the NFC? So we'll see how it plays out.
All right, well, let's talk about what you need to do now. So maybe the division title's out of your reach, but at 3-4, there's not really a reason to think that your season's over. What has to happen for your Cardinals now to turn this around and make a playoff run?
I haven't played with them with this new scheme I have in mind concept. The game I played was with the over there at Chase. I got to get the ball to my playmakers in the open field. I know people talk about my trades. The Chris Thompson trade, he's just not getting it done for me. He's going to be more of I will say a screen type back for me. I picked up another back. Just get the ball to my playmakers, man. Play this football the way I'm capable of playing it. Spread the field open. Run a whole lot more. Play defense without. That's another thing. When I was playing defense, I was trying to use it. I changed that. playoffs. But
All right, Reese, let's talk about you for a second. When you play Madden, are you sitting down or are you standing up?
A little man cave, so I'll stand up and yell at the TV or something like that. But for the most part, I'm sitting directly in front of the TV, about 4 feet away.
All right, guys.
Who lays down?
Magic.
You actually lay down. Where's your TV? Is your TV like hung from a wall or something?
No, it's up on a stand.
Oh,
It's
kind of weird.
Oh, Jesus.
All right, guys. Well, anything can happen in AFL. Anything can happen on the AFL podcast. We talked about Reese against MVP, and joining us now is MVP. What's going on, MVP?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going well, going well. Hey, MVP, you're in the Southeast, right? Are you affected at all by the hurricanes?
We just got some minor rain. We really didn't get too much in Nashville.
Oh, you're Nashville, so you're a little too north of that. Okay, that's good. I know JD got a little bit of the power outages and stuff, but I'm glad you guys are safe. So you came on here, you wanted to talk about Reese or talk to Reese. So what's on your mind tonight?
Nothing. Reese he's the first guy that I've ever had complain about a defensive play that wasn't a nano. Just a straight coverage play.
If you want me to show you the convo that I had with the person I need to have it, I really wasn't trying to press charges, bro. Honestly, I'm not that type of person. It's just that you called it 41 out of 43 times, and if I'm not allowed to do it, because I had a game two games ago in that league that I called screenplay 5 times, and literally the dude put a complaint in on me. Like, it was a screenplay, it was that PA council break or whatever that shit is, and he really put a complaint in me. So I'm like, if I got guys out there doing that, and I did it 5 times, and you literally called this shit like 41 out of 43 times, it's stupid for me not to say, hey, at least watch your play calling. At the end of I can show you, I was like, I'm not really that dude to do it. I'm kind of conflicted, but I mean, it is a rule break, so yeah, go ahead and do what you got to do. But it wasn't no ill, like I'm trying to get you in trouble and shit. So just learn another defense.
Oh, when somebody's only scoring 6 points against me, I don't need to learn another defense.
Okay, be cool.
But to that point, that's one rule that I like in AFL better than PS4's the no play call rules. I know that Stokes versus me ran the same play every time on defense, which he needed to because he was shutting me down.
That's good stuff, bro.
Stokes?
Did you get it off your chest or whatever? Like, what the fuck?
Well, for in pertaining to what MVP's talking about, I would say I did a couple different things, but the same basic play is just whether I would spy the outside linebacker or the inside linebacker. So it was just giving different looks. Towards the end of the game, I started using dollar a little bit more to give a different look. But yeah, overall the concept was the same. Just make sure that Mariota had to stay behind the line of scrimmage and play coverage.
Yeah,
so still
MVP,
use your dollar when it's money time.
I really don't know what you're looking for, but I'll give you this. Apologize, bro. Hope your night ends better with me apologizing for pressing charges on you.
This is a weird rule.
I don't know what he came on for. Like, did he try to poke the bear or something? Like, okay, you got charges presses on you because you called a play 41 out of 43 times. You won the game. Be out. Like, I don't get it. But all right, cool. Salute.
Sham's grandson Walter Hopkins is in chat. He says hi. So Yeah, Reese being friendly is fun and all, but it's not. I don't think it's what we were hoping for. I miss my old Reese, but I definitely like the new Reese's. I think it's better for him on the field. MVP, how are you liking Madden 18? You were lighting it up on the scoreboard early on before the patch. Have you noticed a huge difference from pre-patch to post-patch?
The main thing I'm noticing is kind of what y'all said about the deep blues. The posts aren't as open anymore, and the that cover 3 safety breaks on it a lot better than what it did. For a good thing though.
Yeah,
but,
I agree.
Sorry, but
no, you're good.
When I'm facing people now, granted, my run defense is terrible, and I let Care Bear run for 400 yards against me.
Ooh,
but everybody that I play, they run the ball 30, 40 times, regardless if I'm blowing them out by 30.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the patch, but it seems like run defense has gotten a lot harder to play. Stokes, your defense seems like it's shutting down everybody, but have you noticed anything with run defense that's reacting differently?
See, I'm not the guy, because I don't really notice the little differences in the game itself. But I mean, I'm still able to do what I was doing before stopping the run. Sometimes people do get behind me, but that's usually my mistake. Whether I take the wrong read or the wrong pursuit angle. So I don't.
Real quick before we get to the AFC South, to piggyback on what MVP was saying about our rules, the reason why we decided to go that route this year, and my main reason for wanting to bring it up was I wanted to experiment and see what would happen this year. I know some guys are like, well, it's boring if you see somebody run strong power all game long, but to me, I think it makes it more of a chess match when your opponent has basically any play in his playbook able to, unless it's a glitch or unless it's a nano or something of that nature. If your opponent is doing something and you can't stop it, they shouldn't feel the need to stop it just because of a rule. They should have to stop it because you're forcing them to stop it. And if they're running a run play and they're running outside and you're not shifting your line or adjusting your linebackers or calling a defense where you have linebackers outside the tackles, or if you can't figure out how to get a favorable defensive front out there, then they're going to run outside on you all day, and that's what real NFL teams will do. So I hope guys are enjoying it. The point wasn't to make AFL more lobby. I think the point was hoping it would make us all better at the game, and go ahead.
Well, I agree with you 100%, bro. Like, seriously, the only reason why like MVP even got press charges because it is a rule in that league. And if you have that on paper, if you have that as a rule, and you have someone breaking it, you have to address it, or why have the rule? In AFL, it's no rule, so you can't bitch, you can't complain. The dude can literally run strong power 900 times and you can't say anything about it. So in a way, yes, I agree with you 100%, but I don't think you can say that and then say you didn't make it more lobby, because when you remove certain things, that's the direction it's going.
Yeah, it definitely picks up some lobby aspects, quote unquote lobby aspects. But as Nino always says, let him coach. To me, if you're playing MVP and he's on the podcast here, so this is just an example. If he's hitting you with a nano and every time you drop back, you're just getting sacked before you even have a chance to set up a throw, well, that's not something we're going to let in this league. But if you're playing MVP and he's calling cover 3 and whatever you call on offense is just not beating the cover 3, it just doesn't make sense. In the second quarter, after he hasn't given up a yard in the first quarter, for him to be like, well, I've called my quota of cover 3, so even though I know cover 3 is going to stop you, I'm going to have to call cover 2 now, and then boom, you go for a touchdown, and then that's not football. That's just like having a calculator by you and saying, all right, my percentages of this and that. And I got to tell you,
counting cards, I feel you.
Yeah, and my least favorite times as a commissioner were the times when it was like, I know Nino calls it cover 3 gate, where we were like, okay, what's the right percentage of cover 3? Or when Costa had a situation with T-Mag where T-Mag was like, he ran outside 70% of the time, and it just makes me want to pull my hair out, Stokes, but I don't have any hair to pull out. So I think it's been pretty.
MVP, send me your address, man. I'll send you like a Starbucks card or something on me. Nashville.
Gotta love old man Reese.
MVP, are you a coffee drinker?
Yeah. I have a few glasses every morning at work.
A few glasses?
Cool, baby.
You're just hopped up on the caffeine then.
Yeah, I actually drink it all day long. I drink my last cup around 2 or 3 every day.
Okay. Stokes is drinking one right now, so don't feel bad.
I just finished my cup of coffee right around when the podcast started.
You guys want to hear a pro level transition? I don't know who drinks more coffee, but I do know who has more wins between MVP and Stokes this year. Boom, transition. Let's talk about the AFC South. You guys have played one time. That's the difference in your record. You're both undefeated outside of your games against each other. That game was actually more lopsided than I expected, especially considering you guys had played a couple nights before in PS4, and it was the opposite result. It was a blowout for MVP. I think the way you guys play, it's not going to surprise me if the majority of your games are blowouts, but if the overall record's pretty close to 500, because both of you guys, when you get a lead, are just hard as hell to catch up on. You play lights out defense, you play ball hawking defense, and if you get behind and have to throw on your guys' defense, it's a nightmare. So in that game, MVP, you took the loss in that game. It was a lot of Corey Grant, who's not going to be a problem the rest of this year. But was that just it? Was it just Corey Grant? Was that your main issue?
I would say it was just Corey Grant, but then Kreppel did the same thing to me with Isaiah Crowell, so I can't really say that. But what I did notice is today I actually went through and tried to make a lot of trades, and I noticed that the whole Titans defense has 0 block shed. Jarrell Casey, my best D lineman, has 70 block shed for whatever reason. And Brian Arakpo, who I started at DN, actually has 69 block shed.
That's surprising.
Yeah, so across the board, it looks like they nerfed block shed pretty good.
Well, you loaded up. You got Fletcher Cox. You got Barnett from the Eagles. You gave up a couple of offensive linemen. I think you won that trade by about 10,000 miles. You guys are dominating this division. We have another AFC South guy in this chat, though. Magic, your Colts are 1-7. You've played MVP.
I am in there.
You are in there. You have to look way down to the bottom, though, to see you, though. I almost forgot about you. It's like way down at the bottom. Actually, Magic, when you look at it from this standpoint, your team's the strongest team in the division because you're holding everybody else up. Nothing? Not funny? Okay. So, Magic, are your Colts going to go on a 9-game or 8-game winning streak to finish this out and finish 9-7?
I mean, probably not. You don't get to 1-7 and then become 9-7. That's not how this works. It's not how any of this works.
Well,
you did there.
Livingston's playing well outside of you two, and he did get blown out by both of you. And Magic actually played MVP close when you guys played, but to me, it's not too surprising.
Almost everyone close.
You have, except for, didn't you have one blowout loss? Or no?
I have one blowout win, one blowout loss, and then every other game I'm in is a one-possession game.
Well, this division is not super surprising to me the way it's going. Sham, who do you like to take this division in the second half?
Fuck you, Jimmy. Go MVP.
Right on.
And we got you both on here. Stokes, what do you need to do? You saw the moves today. You saw he brought in Fletcher Cox. He still has Jarrell Case. He still has Arakpo. Brought in Barnett. Really beefed up that front 7. You, on the other hand, you lost Corey Grant. How long is Archer out for?
7 weeks.
You lost Dre Archer. So is it going to be the Jeremy Hill show by default?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple backups, running backs that are fast, but I mean, it's gonna be. I just need some help. I mean, it's just EA is not giving me any love, injuring my guys. But I mean, the defense is still gonna be there. So regardless of anything, I think I'll be in every game. And it's just a matter of whether I can get out of the game passing fewer than 7 times.
When you're in a division with a guy like this, it's happened to you before. You've been in a division with Nino. You've been in divisions with other really good players. Do you just go into each season assuming you guys are going to play 3 times?
Typically, that's exactly what I expect. I expect one of us to have the division and the bye, and then whoever is second in that division usually wins their wild card game, and then you just meet up again in the divisional round. So it's a lot of fun because playing against a good player, the chess match it's fantastic. It makes you a better player because you see a lot of the things that you need to do better, and you can see some of the things that your opponent does that you can learn from them, and at the same time, you see yourself, and it makes me a better player overall.
Now, MVP, are you the type where if you get to the playoffs, you'd rather play somebody you've played a couple times and have familiarity with, or would you rather play somebody fresh in a playoff game?
I think I'd actually want to play somebody I had the familiarity with. But something with being in a division with a guy like Stokes is I'm trying to build my team to beat his, like with the trades today. So it's not really trying to beat the other people in the league or make my team better. I'm trying to build my team to beat his.
And it's definitely a chess match, and that's a chess match on the field when you play, and it's a chess match in the general manager's office when you're trying to build your roster. All right, well, before we get you out of here, MVP, let's talk a little bit about you. A lot of guys may not know you. I mean, you've been in AFL for one season before this. You won the Super Bowl. I do know, I think I know, you're not a dad, correct?
Yeah, I'm not a dad.
You're not a dad. I do know, if I remember correctly, you have a girlfriend, but you don't want her to know that you play Madden, or at least that you come on Madden podcast, correct? Because that was a mistake one time.
Yeah, that was actually my ex-girlfriend, but my new girl, I'm the same way.
Okay, fair enough. So what I would recommend.
This one finds out it's an ex.
I would unfriend Sham on Facebook, because if you're friends with Sham on Facebook, he'll become friends with her, and then all of a sudden they'll be talking, and he'll be like, "Hey, did you hear the podcast last night?"
Whoa. Listen, I do not mention any of that shit, buddy. Hey, listen.
I'm just kidding.
Damn, be dry snitching.
Whoa, listen.
Listening.
Just making up stories on us.
And then, well, the girlfriend story is absolutely not made up. I swear, if Kreppel and Pagano have their girlfriends hanging out that night, that's their own fault. And MVP, you're kind of a weirdo when it comes to Madden, because you'll stand up, you'll sit down, but you'll even do something where you play with your controller behind your head.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but for whatever reason, that feels comfortable for me playing Madden. It really, sometimes I don't lay down, but I sit on my bed, which is kind of near my TV, if I'm kind of not paying attention playing. And then I'll sit in my chair, my desk chair, if I'm kind of paying attention. Then when I really want to win, I stand up.
Okay, so Stokes, he's probably standing up whenever you guys are playing, except maybe not when the Steelers played the Bears in PS4, because that was a blowout. All right, well, MVP, thanks for coming on tonight. I hope you're enjoying your second season here in AFL, and hopefully it's the second of many, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, y'all guys have a good one.
You too, man. Reese, you want to hang out with us and make division predictions, or you got to get going?
Nah, man, I'm good.
Okay, so we talked about the AFC South. We heard from 3 of the guys in it. Sham said that MVP is going to take it. Reese, who do you like to take the AFC South?
MVP, I played MVP and I played Stokes. I mean, even though he came on and do his thing or whatever, I'm picking Stokes. I don't think MVP's I don't think he's that good in this game. I just need to figure out cover 6. If I could figure out that, I could have put up points. I stopped him. He only scored 14 points on me. He was trying to play. So Stokes getting this division.
All right, 1 vote for MVP, 1 vote for Stokes. Let's move on to the AFC East, and Nino, undefeated with the Bills. Not the best roster in the world, but he's just making it work with them. Prime's Dolphins are 4-4. They can't get out of their own way at times. They'll win a big game, then they'll lose a head-scratcher. Hitman's Patriots are 2-5, taking quite a few forced losses. Unfortunately, he's right down there in Florida and got more important things going on. And Swag's Jets are 1-7, should be 2-6, but we forgot to put a force win in for him. To me, guys, this is the Nino show, and maybe Prime has a chance to sneak in as a wild card if he can get it turned around, but I don't see any reason to think that Nino isn't going to take this division. Does anybody disagree with that?
Nope.
No, unfortunately.
All right, Sham, let's go to your division and also RVD's division, the AFC West. And you lost a big game this past week to the Broncos and A-Bomb, because the winner of that game was going to have sole possession of first place in that division, and now A-Bomb does. He's 5-2. You're 4-4, and it's a 2-team race because RVD's Chargers and Bo's Raiders are both 1-6 and completely out of the race. Bo has thrown a tremendous amount of interceptions. He had like 28 interceptions through his first 5 games. Sham, what has to happen now? You've made some big trades today. You got Melvin Gordon. You got the defensive or the linebacker from the the Lions. What has to happen now for your Chiefs to catch the Broncos and take this division?
Well, I have to pray for A-Bomb to lose, but for me, I just have to be focused. First 3 games, I was just ignoring shit. 2 games after, I went 3-0, had some and then last night I lost the game that I felt like I should have won. Even A-Bomb, said, he was surprised that he won but like one important phone call, I couldn't ignore the phone call, and it shifted the flow of the game. So, but I mean, all I have to do is just stay focused. I'll be fine.
Magic, who do you like to take this division? The 5-2 Broncos or the 4-4 Chiefs?
How many more times do they play? Once. I'm gonna take Shad. I'm gonna believe. He made some big roster moves today, and I think they're gonna pay off.
Reese, how do you like this division shaping out? You think Sham's gonna be able to catch him, or you think A-Bomb's gonna take it?
I think Sham can catch him. I really don't know the A-Bomb dude too well. I played him. He wasn't that good, but Sham, if he concentrates like he says, he's a pretty tough out. He's pretty tough to beat. You can beat him consistently, but you have to concentrate. So Sham should get it.
Yeah, the thing about Sham is on the last episode of AFL Advance, I was like, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. I think that's really just good advice for anybody that's not super comfortable passing. And now that you have Melvin Gordon, I expect you to run the hell out of the ball. And to me, I feel like Madden 18 is, unless you're really good at passing like Danny or maybe even MVP, Magic to an extent, I feel like this is a game where you don't want to be the one that makes the most mistakes. And it's hard to make a mistake running the ball unless you fumble, and then if you fumble, it is what it is. All right, guys, let's move on to the NFC. We talked about the East. Let's go to my division, the NFC North. We have Fish Sticks and the Packers. They're 6-1. We have KK's Lions at 5-2. My Bears are 4-4, and the Vikings and Stang are 4-4. Yeah, JT's right. Somebody's breathing into the phone. I'm not sure, or breathing into their mic. I'm not sure who it is, but for me, it's been a frustrating season because I lost my first game to Costa. It was a close game. Then I went on a 3-game winning streak, and then I've lost my last 2. That the math doesn't add up, so I don't know where that is. Or anyway, I've lost 3 out of my last 4 now, and I lost Trubisky at one point. And my game last night against JT was a frustrating loss. He played well, but it was a game that I had a chance to win at the end, and I threw an interception in the end zone. I'm struggling at this game. I think I'm pretty good at defense, but offensively, if I'm not running, I'm not moving the ball. I feel like every time I pass, I'm just hoping I don't throw an interception. Looking at the way that Fish Sticks is playing, he's playing smart on offense. He's moving the ball through the air with Aaron Rodgers. He's running the ball well with Adrian Peterson, playing good defense. Give credit to KK. He's 5-2 with the Lions, and we all talked about how bad that roster was. And then Stang's made some good moves with the Vikings. He's taken some losses in the division. That might hold him back. But he's 4-4. He's back in the race. This, to me, is anybody's ball game. I'm not going to predict it because it's my division, so I'll go to you, Stokes. How do you see this division playing out?
I'm impressed with the way that KK is playing. 5-2 with the Lions. I mean, we all expected that he would have trouble at least season 1. I'm going to go ahead and go with Fisher. In every game I've seen him play, he's been impressive. I didn't watch his game that he lost against Roman, so I don't really know what to say about it. But he's got Rodgers. He's using Adrian Peterson very well. So I think that the way he's playing, I'm expecting him to win the division.
Now, Reese, you had a chance to play KK week 1. You beat him. Did you notice anything about that game that, even though you won, was encouraging about him?
He's better than a lot of people give him for, man. I know we kind of got into it, not really, but preseason, and he said he was waiting to play me. So I concentrated a lot that game, and that was pre-patch. But it took me a while to get control of that game. He's way better, especially with that roster, like everyone's saying, than people give him credit for. So he's solid on the sticks, man. He has a good user. He understands concepts. He takes away what you do best. So he surprised me a lot, honestly.
And as you mentioned with that roster, I think Madden 18, more than any Madden I can remember, a lot of what happens comes down to the roster you have, especially when two players are even. You can really feel the difference in talented players out there. Sham, you had a chance to talk about this division a little bit on AFL Advanced, so we'll just go to Magic. Magic, how do you like this division shaping up? Magic might be gone.
Yeah, I think he had to leave.
He might have lost interest in this conversation. All right, well, at least we can talk shit about him now. So that leaves now, we've talked about the NFC West. We've talked about the NFC South. We briefly talked about the NFC South. So let's get into it deeper here, because to me, this is one of the better divisions on here. We have Costa's 5-2 Falcons. We have the 4-3 Panthers, the 3-4 Bucks, and JD, and then the 2-5 Saints, who I left out earlier when I was talking about, but they won last night, and none of these teams have really played each other outside of the Saints and the Panthers, and now the Bucks and the Panthers. I love the way that Costa's playing. I love the way he's running the ball with Coleman. I love the way that he's not giving up on the run if it's working. I think he threw 2 passes in a victory against Swag the other day. He's not going to beat himself if he doesn't have to. His loss came to Nino, and then he also lost a game to who did he lose to? He lost to the Packers. So he's lost to some quality teams. I don't see any reason to pick against Costa right now. He's got the best team by far, and he's playing well with them. I'm going to say the Falcons win this division. Sham, how do you like this division shaping up?
Well, after the trade I made today, I think that Rodney was probably his biggest threat. So, right now as it stands, Costa will take the division.
Well, speaking of this division, we have a very exciting game coming down to the wire here. Rodney's Panthers are beating JD's Bucks 22-21 in the fourth quarter. JD has the ball down by 1 with 23 seconds to go, and he's on his own 24-yard line, so he's got some yards to go, but he's facing a 3rd and 20 as we speak. So this is a huge play in the game, and if he's able to drive down there and get this field goal, that would be a huge win for his season. But if he loses this game, it's going to be hard for him to come back after some of the losses he's taking. So he just threw an incomplete pass, so now it's 4th and 20. We'll get you an update there. I think JD is probably the most equipped to stop Costa's run game. I think he has the best idea for how to stop the outside runs. But if he keeps piling up losses, he's going to be pretty insignificant in this race. Stokes, are you surprised at all by how this division's shaping up, and how do you like it going forward?
I would say JD being 3-4 is probably surprising to me. JT, he's 2-5 from the teams I played against him in the preseason range. I expected more from him, but he's been taking some losses, and he's got a very tough schedule. I think with the loss of Cam, it's going to be very difficult for Rodney to sustain any sort of real threat to Costa. So I think Costa's going to win this division.
Victory formation for the Carolina Panthers. They are kneeling it out as Derek Anderson takes a knee. The Panthers get the win. They're going to improve to 5-3. JD goes down to 3-5. It looked like he had 2 chances there on 3rd and 20 and 4th and 20 to get Mike Evans a first down. Yeah, but he couldn't get Rex on the phone, his buddy Rex on Twitter. But he couldn't have Mike Evans hold onto a ball in traffic. You need your best receiver to make that play there. It didn't happen. JD with a tough loss. Big win for Rodney is now he has to start looking for life after Cam. And now that this game's gone final, I wonder if we're able to pull up the injury report and see just how long Cam is going to be out for. Reese, how do you like this division shaping up?
You guys hit it on the head. I think Costa's playing real good. He's playing real good, actually. I watched some of his games. He's running the ball. He's not giving up on the run. Actually, I kind of stole some of his run plays with this new concept that I'm doing. But, it's his division, man. This loss with JD, a.k.a. all the intricacies of the game, just lost. But that injury to the Carolina Panthers, and plus he traded, I don't see him, opposing any threat to Costa. It's Costa's division.
Cam Newton is going to miss the next 4 games with a shoulder tear. So not devastating, not a terrible injury, but he's going to miss 4 weeks, critical weeks in an 8-game stretch where a lot is going to be decided in that division. And I'm sure there'll be a Panthers-Falcons game in that mix that he'll want to win, and he won't have Cam Newton out there for it. So it looks like it'll be the Derek Anderson show unless he's able to make a trade before the deadline here. All right, guys, we've gone through all these divisions. We've talked about our own personal teams, I believe. All of us had a chance to do that a little bit. Maybe besides Stokes. Stokes, we talked about your team a little bit when MVP was on, but in general, you're rolling on offense, you're rolling on defense. The part of AFL Advanced last week that didn't record whenever we had the technical difficulties, I said something that was a huge compliment to you, so maybe it's good that it didn't record. I don't want you to get a big head. I was like, the scary thing about Stokes is before the patch came out, I was talking to him, and he was like, I think defense is fine, and I'm shutting people down anyway. And I'm like, well, good. So when the patch comes out, nobody's going to be able to move the ball on you, and that's proven to be true. So I think you're, if not the best, one of the best defensive players in this game, in our league, and you're by far the best runner. The stats bear that out, and you don't need to pass, so it is what it is. Just talk about your season. Injuries right now are the biggest story, but you've yet to have a loss.
Yeah, I mean, injuries, that's been the biggest thing for me this season. Corey Grant went down. He was averaging like 232 rushing yards per game, and losing that player, he's by far the most important player to what I like to do as a player, as a Madden player. And it sucks to not have that type of threat offensively. But I just have to make it work with Jeremy Hill and Tyler Irvin. But I mean, the name of my game is always has been really defense and running the ball, and I don't think that's not going to change. What I do defensively is I don't take a lot of chances. What I do is I force my opponent to have 10 to 12 play drives consistently, and I figure if you're going to have 12 play drives, I'm going to be able to stop you 3 times and force you to punt or kick a field goal. And I'll give up the short pass or whatever you're going to try to do. By the second quarter, third quarter, I've made my adjustments to what you're doing, and I'm prepared for your go-to plays for the critical situations. So that's typically the way I play Madden overall. I just try to make adjustments over the course of the game and get someone in a false sense of security and be prepared for when they fall into my trap later in the game.
Yeah, I think your team right now, even though you're having the injuries, it looks like the favorite in the AFC. Another favorite in the AFC, Nino's Bills. They just went final. Nino's Bills beat Bo's Raiders, so they improved to 7-0. We have 1 game left on the Week 8 schedule. It is Hitman's Patriots against RVD's Chargers. They're going to try to get that in tonight, so we should be able to advance. I don't know, Reese, if you want to hang out with us, or if you guys have time, do you guys want to just, while we're live on the air, pick the games for Week 9 so we don't have to go do a whole episode of AFL Advance?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do it. Thursday Night Football, guys. Underneath the lights, Thursday Night Football, we have Swag's Jets hosting Nino's Bills. They played Week 1. It was closer than a lot expected, but since then, Swag has really struggled. He only has 1 win since then, and Nino has yet to lose. I don't see any reason to pick against Nino in this spot. Stokes?
No way, no how. I mean, the fact that he traded us first is interesting, but it gives him self-motivation, I suppose, but I think this will be a drubbing.
Sham, who you like in this game?
Who cares?
All right. Reese, who you like in this game?
It's Nino.
Yeah. Let's go to the Sunday afternoon slate, and that game we talked about had to be coming soon. It's coming next week. We have Rod's Carolina Panthers and what looks like Derek Anderson taking the field against Costa's Atlanta Falcons. Guys, I'm psyched for this game. I can't wait to see what happens. To me, the NFC South is where my attention is going to be outside of my own games in the second half of the season, because so much has yet to be decided in that division. I like the way Rod's playing. He's playing smart. He's winning close games. He's had some big wins over some good players. He's beaten JD. He's beaten me. He's beaten Dan Quinn. Those are 3 former Super Bowl champions. I'm going to pick Costa here, though. He's playing smart. He's playing well. He's really rolling with his Falcons, and he's fully healthy. Outside, I think Vic Beasley's still hurt, but he's not missing any of his main skill position guys. And I don't trust Derek Anderson in a game like this to make enough throws for as much as Rodney likes to throw the ball. I think the Falcons go to Carolina and get a big road victory. Stokes?
I think that is really going to come down to the fact that Cam is gone. Him having to rely on Derek Anderson to make critical passes against a defense as good as the Falcons, and the way Costa's running the ball, I agree with you fully there. Falcons.
Justin weighs in and says Falcons win. Cam is a huge loss. Justin, tell Rod to hit me up. He can have Drew Brees. Reese, who do you like in this game?
Well, since he's going to have my backup quarterback starting for him, he's going to win. No, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Hey, man, hey, Slim Shady on my squad can go if you need him, Rod. It's going to cost you a couple picks and probably a couple players, though. Costa, it doesn't matter who he has at quarterback, man. Costa's going to win that game.
Sham, are you going to make it a sweep?
Glennon can go, though. Glennon can go.
Mike Glennon, traded twice in one season. Sham, who you like in this game?
Falcons.
All right, Stokes, your game. We have your Houston Texans. I don't even know if anybody is healthy for your team anymore, but you're going to be out there in your all-red uniforms, and you're going to be hosting Magic's Indianapolis Colts. Magic's been playing well even in defeat. He's been keeping games close. He's been throwing the ball well. He has been keeping games close, but I think that ends this week. The way he throws the ball around the yard, I think you're going to be good for a couple picks. I don't know if he's going to be able to stop your run, even if it is Jeremy Hill or whoever you have running the ball for whoever's healthy. I think your Texans get a big win and move ever so much closer to can he go undefeated talk. Sham, who you like in this game, Texans or Colts?
Oh, bored. Jimmy.
Reese, who you like in this game?
Who the hell is Jimmy? Stokes.
That's Sham being a douche.
That's his birth name, Jimmy Stokes. His nickname is James.
Oh, okay.
No, don't believe these guys. That's not true at all.
The wife gave us the cosign. We're going to stick with it, buddy.
Speaking of wives, I need to get this out there. So we know about Jenny, we know about Vanessa, we know about my Jackie, but we need to give a special shout out. Oh, we know about Jen, who sometimes listens with Costa. We got to give a special shout out to Danny, because Prime told me tonight that she listens to podcasts sometimes with him. So that's awesome. And she and I had a situation where on one of his birthday posts a couple weeks back, we were liking each other's comments and laughing. So obviously I like her if she laughs at something I say. So shout out to the AFL wives for showing up and, obviously having to put up with us knuckleheads. So Danny, if you're out there listening, thanks for listening. You're a much more welcome addition to this show than anybody else in this league. So we have the Jacksonville Jaguars and Donald Livingston taking on SJR's Bengals. I don't know who the hell's going to be on the field for the Bengals. He's making so many trades before the trade deadline. Livingston's playing well. Both of these guys are right around the 500 mark. Livingston 4-3, SJR 3-4. Livingston, if he's going to stay in the wild card race, needs to win all of his non-Stokes MVP games, and SJR just needs to win games like this if he's going to crawl back into the division race in the AFC North. This is a very big contest as far as playoff implications go. I'm going to say that even though SJR was on with us earlier, I like the way Livingston's playing. He's taking care of his business outside of Stokes MVP games. I didn't think he could do it. I didn't know he was good enough to do it. But outside of those games, he's winning games, and I think he's going to keep it rolling this week. Stokes, who you like?
I'm gonna go with SJR. I mean, he's moving. He's had a lot of moving pieces, so he's probably still gonna be adjusting to the newness of his roster. But I'm still skeptical of Donald as a whole. He's down a few players, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Bengals here.
Reese, who you like in this game? You like the Jaguars or the Bengals?
Livingston is definitely playing some good ball. I don't know about SJR, man. I thought he would be better than what he is currently. So I'm gonna go with Livingston.
And Sham.
Livingston.
All right, let's talk about JT and the Saints off the big win over my Bears last week. They're going to try to make it 2 in a row this week with a division matchup against JD's Tampa Bay Bucks. They just lost a heartbreaker to the Carolina Panthers, one they could ill afford to lose. If they are going to make something out of this season, the winning streak has to start this week in New Orleans against the Saints. And if the Saints are going to ever crawl back into this race, they have to win this week. I think it is a loser goes home matchup in New Orleans, which is always exciting. JT played well last night. He's got Blake Bortles in there, who's not going to throw the pinpoint passes that Breeze throws, but it makes him focus more on the run with his running game, which is solid. So that's good. I think he's relying on Eddie Lacy, if I remember correctly. JD's all over the place. I know he's good, but he's inconsistent. I don't like what I'm seeing from the Bucks right now, guys. I'm going to take the Saints to win this game, and it's surprising for me to pick against JD because I respect what he's doing, but I think he's in his own head too much, trying to find the meta of the game instead of just playing the game, and it's just working out bad for him. Reese, who you like in this game, Saints or Bucks?
I like the Saints, man. I hate what JD is doing, honestly. I know he's a good player, but I just think he's one of those guys that tries to find those different things about the game that I cannot stand. So I hope the Saints blow him out.
Justin just said that Alvin Kamara is back, which is a big get back for him. You can rely on him as well as Eddie Lacy. Stokes, who's going to win, Saints or Bucks?
I'm going to go with the Bucks here. I think that JD's just still trying to figure things out. And I'm expecting JT to have to rely on Bortles because JD understands how to stop the run better than a lot of people. So I think he's going to need Bortles, and Bortles is not the guy you need.
I just want to point out, Stokes, how clutch you are at switching from JD to JT whenever you're breaking this game down. I couldn't do it. I know my weaknesses. I would be calling them all both by the wrong names. Good job on you. Danny chimed in. He says JD's going to win 40-2. 40-2. I'm guessing that is with who's Ben Roethlisberger falling over in the end zone laughing at the Saints defense for a safety. So maybe that's where the 2 points come in. But that's a bold prediction from Danny. Sham, who you like in this game, Bucks or Saints?
Go Saints.
Go Saints, and then
why would you say go? Why wouldn't you say who that? What are you crazy?
Who dat?
Okay, Jimmy. Who dat?
Jimmy. That's classic Jimmy right there, right? Right, Sham?
I hate you guys so much.
Skins chimes in from chat. He says, not sure JT can throw the ball on JD. If JD can stop the run, he wins. I read that without having any slip-ups, so that's good.
Yeah, good job.
This is going to be a fun game in New York this week as E-Dub's Giants, they're tied for the division lead in the NFC East at 5-2. They are going to take on Joker's LA Rams. I cannot remember off the top of my... Oh, they're 3-4 because everybody outside of Danny's 3-4, so I can go back into the schedule here. Joker's Rams are 3-4, but they're playing well. They've had a couple of big wins recently. After the loss to T-Mag a couple weeks ago, Joker's been playing well. I'm kind of like Stokes. I feel like I've missed every single E-Dub game. Like, I know he's in the league, and he's one of my favorites in the league, and I know I say that about a lot of people, but he truly is one of my favorites. But I feel like it's been a quiet season for him. I haven't talked to him as much. I haven't seen him on the boards as much. I think he's just got a lot going on with work and stuff like that. But I feel like I've never seen his games. He's getting them in, but I just don't really have a feel for what he's doing out there. And Joker's getting hot with the Rams. I'm going to say that E-Dub, even though I haven't seen much from him, finds a way to win. I think he still has a better team here. I think it's his Giants, and I think he also realizes that he's got to win because he and Bailey are neck and neck, as Washington is also 5-2. So I think the Giants win a really close, entertaining game in New York. Reese, who do you like in this game?
I like, I don't know, man. Joker is playing good. He did beat me. I like E-Dub in the game though. I watched both of them play. I catch some of E-Dub's games. Joker is hot, so E-Dub is not playing what we expect him to play, but I think he still beats Joker.
Joker's hot, and so is his mom. Stokes, who do you like in this game?
Oh my god. Oh man. I'm gonna go with the Giants here. I don't really have anything. Sorry. I'm going with that.
The Sarah comment threw you off?
Yeah.
All right, Sham.
Because I want to be Joker's friend, and that's never going to happen now.
Sham, who do you like in this game? Giants or the Fighting Sarahs?
Joker and his hot mom.
Jesus.
All right, Stokes, the easiest game on the schedule to predict this week. We have A-Bombs, Denver Broncos, traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Who's going to win this game?
The Broncos. That guy's just making me so sad. Just so sad.
All right,
the fact that that's my guy.
I don't want to pick on him.
Sucks.
We can break this down a little bit, I guess, but he's 0-8. He hasn't even scored 100 points, and he's been in 8 games. And he traded his best defensive player, who's a glitchy superstar development player on defense, for 2 offensive linemen today. I don't see what he's doing team builder wise. He gives up multiple big picks for Brashard Perryman, who is fast but has nothing else. And A-Bomb's playing well. He's playing smart. I don't think he's a guy that's going to go out there and light up the scoreboard, but I feel like he's a guy that's not going to beat himself. So I think the Broncos are going to win and probably win big. Anybody on here disagree with that and want to pick the Eagles? If not, we can move on. All right, guys. Tennessee Titans. Both of these guys were actually on the show earlier at one point. We have MVP's Titans hosting Frank's Ravens. Frank talked about how it's a time, if his team's going to turn around, it needs to start this week. But it's a tall task this week, guys. He has to go to Tennessee and take on MVP's Titans. Fletcher Cox will be making his Titans debut. Derek Barnett will be making his Titans debut. That defense is going to be hungry. They're going to be flying around. I expect, even though I'd like to see Frank turn it around, I think it's going to be too tough to handle this week. I think the Titans win, and they could potentially win really big. Give me the Titans over the Ravens. Stokes?
Titans. I mean, I'm going to be rooting hard for Frank to win this game, though, but I'm not silly.
Hey, coach him up. You can't give him your thumbs, right?
No, unfortunately I cannot. I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't.
All right, Sham, who's going to win this game, Titans or Ravens?
Frank.
Wow.
What?
Wow. Hot take. Reese, Titans or Ravens?
Wait, time out. Just a second here. You picked mother effing MVP to win the division, bruh. And so Frank is going to beat him?
Hey, listen, this is one of those games. I want to go with Frank. Feel the dreams.
Stokes is looking for logic in an illogical situation. Reese.
Right. It's just
I think Field of Dreams could beat him. Like I said, MVP he hasn't shown me a lot when I played him, but I think he'll just call cover 6 all damn day long. And if Frank, you're listening, you find a way to beat cover 6, you win. But if you don't, MVP's gonna win.
Can I just say there are some juicy matchups this week. I'm looking at the rest of the schedule. This is going to be a fun week. I have a bye week this week. I'm going to lock into some of these streams and just watch AFL action, not having to worry about trying to find my way to a win. And one of those juicy matchups is taking place in San Francisco this week as Danny's 8-0 49ers host Reese's Arizona Cardinals. Reese got a new playbook. He's got a new feeling about this game. He's got some new confidence going on. Reese, you've got 3 wins on the year. We saw the standings earlier. The division title may be out of reach. Wild card certainly isn't. But with what your record is, you need to start a winning streak. And no better time to start that than against the guy you're chasing in San Francisco. Before we get our predictions in, just tell us what needs to happen this week for your Cardinals to pull off the upset and win this game.
I'm not talking shit on this. Not. What needs to happen is the same thing that happened last game without me throwing the picks that I threw. Danny knew that playbook. He knew my plays, and I still was able to score a lot of points. He was able to score a lot of points. I feel like I have an upper hand when I play someone twice, because I kind of key in on what they were doing. His passing scheme is good, but I think I got him. I got some of his timing plays down. He's not a great runner, but he runs to keep you honest. So I got a scheme. I stick with the scheme. Danny gets his first loss. I pull 500, and you know, I'm not being arrogant when I say that. I really believe it.
Well, if you came on here and picked yourself to lose, I'd probably just hang up on you, because I don't need somebody. I don't need somebody being that lack of confidence in AFL. All right, Stokes, you just heard what he said. It sounds good. It's logical. It needs to protect the ball. That's a good recipe. That's a good roadmap to success. Do the Cardinals find their way to a win this week in San Francisco?
Man, it's a difficult one. But I mean, when you look at the game that they played, I mean, it took 3 straight pick sixes to get Reese back into the game. So if Reese has changed what he's going to do, and if he's changed his offensive concepts, and I think it could be a good game, and I would expect a good game. But as far as picking is concerned, I've got to go with Danny until proven otherwise. I mean, 8-0. That's difficult to poo-poo. So I've got to go with it.
I just heard Stokes say poo-poo. That was made my night. Stokes, is there any chance that between your camaraderie with Danny on Rocket League, and maybe when you guys talk about UFC, that you can get him to come on one of these podcasts, or is he going to just be that mystery guy that we never quite know what he looks and sounds like?
I think he'll be the mystery guy. I was, when they were doing the team play, I was surprised to hear Dan Quinn's voice. I mean, and I don't know whether we'll ever hear Danny. I mean, when you see a guy who won't show us his face, you'd think that he's not gonna ever let us hear his voice.
I feel like Danny and Joker are they just like being the mystery guys. They like separation of life and Madden, and they really don't want to let people in too much. And in Joker's case, maybe it's because he friend requested me, and 5 minutes later I was hitting on his mom, and it just went bad. But I've never hit on I've never hit on Danny's mom to my knowledge, so you know, maybe we'll get him on the podcast down the line. Sham, who do you like in this game?
Whatever.
Hashtag analysis.
Such a weirdo.
Sham's like, oh, there'll be a game played. Somebody's going to probably score a touchdown. Give me the team in red. I'm with Stokes. I'm going to have to say the Niners just because of what I've seen so far. It's hard for me to pick against Dan. I did it way too much early in the season. I was like, oh, he can't win with that roster. He can't win with that roster. I'm done picking against Danny. I'm rooting for Reese to turn it around, because I think AFL's better when Reese is in the mix. But you know, prediction wise, I think I'm going to go with the Niners, but I'm going to be locked into this game whenever it starts. Whoever's streaming this game, make sure you tag me. T-Mag's Seahawks will be hosting Bailey's Washington football team. There you go, Stokes. Teletubby. This game to me is really interesting because both of these guys have had moments in Madden 18. Bailey had a 5-game win streak. The Seahawks have beaten Joker. T-Mac had that big win over Reese we talked about earlier in a different league. He's played well, but for whatever reason, he can't get it going with the Seahawks this year. He's really struggling. At this point, I think I'm going to lean on Bailey. I know what he said about not playing as much post-patch, not having as much experience. I think maybe between now and the time that game kicks off, he's going to find some time to play. He did have a really bad loss to Roman last week. Bailey has lost 2 in a row. I think he avoids making it 3-0. He's going to have to keep pace with Edub, who I have predicted to beat Joker. Sham, your bedtime song is playing, so if you have to go to bed, you can. But I think I'm going to take the Washington Fighting Football Team to go to Seattle and get a victory in Seattle, Washington. How ironic is that? Stokes, who you like in this game?
Man, I haven't seen Bailey's run defense, and that's what Pick is going to do pretty much all game. Just run Le'Veon Bell into the ground.
Inside zone.
So that's without knowing, I would expect Bailey to win the game, but if he's having any sort of trouble stopping the run, then T-Mac is going to take advantage of that, and Lev's going to go for 250.
Anybody struggles stopping inside zone? Should I give the really easy pro tip here, Stokes, or should I just let guys figure it out?
Help the people. Always help the people.
All right, I'll give you a tip. If somebody's beating you with inside zone, the simplest, easiest, single adjustment you need to make is if the running back is lined up to the right of the quarterback, shift your D-line to the left. If the running back is lined up to the left of the quarterback, shift your D-line to the right. If you do nothing else but that adjustment, you will slow down inside zone. You may not stop it. You'll have to make other adjustments along the way. But if you do that adjustment and that adjustment alone, you won't get killed and gashed by inside zone all game. Stokes, do you agree with that tip?
Yeah. Against most shotguns, if it's a trips, if it's trips to the right, which is three receivers to the right, you can shift your linebacker, shift your line and crash them to the right. And if you take the offside linebacker, you're gonna get a free lane to beat the running back to the edge. Or just always crash your defensive line to the strong side, because the defensive end on the strong side will get outside leverage on the tackle. So if he tries to break it outside, your defensive end will have outside leverage, and he'll be able to break off that tackle and break off that block and get the tackle for a loss of yards. Unless, of course, they understand what's going on and they give yardage away, like they run backwards a little bit just to get outside to the edge. But most people aren't that adept at running the ball to be able to understand when to give yards to get yards.
No, that's serious next level stuff. You'll see Stokes, you'll see Nino doing that, where they run backwards 2 or 3 yards and don't cut up field until it looks like it's too late. But you guys have been running so much that you understand how much distance you have to keep between you and the defender, where they still can't dive at you. So yeah, that's serious next level stuff. So do those few things there, and you'll slow down inside zone tremendously. All right, Sham, let's get to your game. This is kind of a grudge match. It's the battle of the GMs that can never make a trade with each other. Roman's Dallas Cowboys will play host to your Kansas City Chiefs. Now, both of you guys, again, need a victory here. You guys are both hanging on to your division races by a thread. In your case, Sham, I think the division race is going to be your only ability to make the playoffs. I don't think a wild card is going to come out of the AFC West. So you need to win to keep pace with A-Bomb. And then Roman needs to win and just hope that the out-of-town scoreboard is favorable to him, maybe with a Seahawks victory over Washington and then a Rams victory over the Giants. Roman's playing well. He beat the Redskins himself. He needs to keep it rolling this week. I don't know, man. I'm going to pick Sham. I feel like maybe I'm using bad judgment here because you've been so up and down, but I'm thinking you're going to be motivated by some of these trades you've made, and I think you got enough in your tank to beat Roman. You got to play smart, though. You're going to be on the road in Dallas. I can't be going out there throwing 2 picks in the first quarter. Let Melvin Gordon take you to victory in this game, Sham. I think the Chiefs are going to find a way to win this game. Stokes, who you like?
If you look at Roman's last 3 games, he beat Bailey, he played Danny very tough, and then he beat Fisher pretty handily. And outside of that, he played Joker as well. He lost that game. But I'm going to go with Roman here. I think if you look at all of his games, he's played fairly well in all of them. And I think that's the type of consistency you don't normally see out of Roman. So maybe something is different with him, and maybe it's the Cowboys, but I'm going to pick Roman here.
Reese, who you like in this game?
Roman is playing good ball, man. I should have beat him, but yeah, I'm going to go with Roman.
All right, Sham, you get the final word on this game. Just let us know what your mindset is going into this game with your new look team.
Man, it's going to be 4-square Chiefs. I'm calling ice on that fucking bastard. Chiefs.
Whoa.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Louise.
You know it's bad when you offend me. Just real quick, Chad fan, I don't think we're going to have time to get to you tonight, but it's already been 2 hours and 10 minutes we've been on the air. Message me on Facebook.
Very much apologize.
Yeah, message me on Facebook. I feel bad about that. We'll get you on an episode of AFL Advance or definitely on the next podcast. We're not avoiding you, I promise. It'd be cool to hear from you. You're a guy that was in AFL at one point. I just don't think it's going to happen tonight. I do apologize for that. I wasn't trying to keep you hanging. Let's go to Sunday Night Football. And the Miami Dolphins in prime, they will be hosting a team that's very much struggling, the Oakland Raiders in Bo. They have one win so far this season. They just got their doors blown off by the Bills. Prime struggling, lost on basically a Hail Mary pass that should not have been called complete when you look at the replay. And tough loss for him to get to 4-4. I think he turns it around this week. The Raiders are just playing too bad. I think unless Prime just throws up all over himself, he's not going to lose back-to-back games to the Ravens and the Raiders. Give me the Dolphins in prime time under the lights. I'm taking the Dolphins over the Raiders. Sham, who do you like?
Oh, Prime all day.
Reese?
Prime.
And Stokes.
I'm correct me if I'm wrong on my stats, but I think that Bo has a 1 to 10 touchdown to interception ratio. That is awful. I don't understand what's wrong with Bo, but that's really, 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 really bad. I'm going to pick Prime here.
You know, Stokes, it was my understanding that there would be no math. That's the promise I had coming into this. And then, guys, we have a beauty on Monday Night Football to wrap up this week. We have the Green Bay Packers and Fish, the division-leading Green Bay Packers, taking on the second place in the NFC North, Detroit Lions. They're a game behind. They have a chance to pull even this week. The Lions are playing great with KK the Destroyer. Fish is playing great with the Packers. Okay, I'm going to say that the Lions go to Lambeau and they pull off the upset victory. I wasn't crazy about the trade the Lions made today as far as getting Derrick Henry and giving up the linebacker Davis. I thought that was a little bit too much to give up, but I'm going to give KK credit. He's playing with the kind of a dismantled roster that the real-life Lions built. He's traded off guys like Darius Slay, traded off Davis today. I think whatever he's doing, it's working for him. Let's put it that way. He's lost a couple of tough games to good players. He lost to Reese. He lost to Costa. But other than that, he's been putting wins together. I think he's going to find a way to a win this week. What I've noticed about him is he is one of the few guys in this league that has actually played better since the patch came out. And if you look at Fish Sticks, his box scores are actually a little worse since the patch came out. And not noticeably worse, but his scoring has gone down. And I think KK has a good defense. Now, it's always possible that KK's defense isn't ready to handle the dots that Rodgers is going to be throwing out there. But for the time being, I think this is a prime upset spot. And candidly, I'm going to be rooting for the Lions because I need the Packers to get some losses if I'm going to get back into this race. I'm going to take the Lions in an upset in Lambeau Field. Sham, who you taking?
Packers.
Stokes?
Just for excitement's sake, as the season wears down a bit, I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Lions here. I don't really. I picked the Packers to win the division, but I'd rather see this go down to the wire for the last few weeks. So I need the Lions to win this for it to be exciting for me.
All right, and Reese, you get the final say on this game.
Packers.
All right. Well, guys, that was our mid-season podcast. That was also a rushed episode of AFL Advance. I will post next week's schedule up here in a little bit, and I will also tag this episode with a start time for
Is the last game scheduled for this week? Is it scheduled?
I believe they're trying to play tonight. That's the last thing I've heard. I'm going to message RVD when we get off of here and get a set time. I know Hitman's really struggling to find time right now with the hurricane stuff, and that's totally understandable. I think his area was hit pretty hard with it, so we'll see what happens. I expect we're going to be advancing tonight. So let's thank the guys that came on tonight. Let's thank SJR, Frank, Bailey, MVP, and then Reese, you're still with us. But quickly, Stokes, what did you think about having the guests on? Do you think it was a good flow? It had too many? Did you like it?
I loved it. I loved just getting different thought processes from just the people getting to know them a little bit better. I love the the opportunity to get more voices on here and just make this more interactive. And I mean, I really enjoy doing these podcasts. Other than the fact that we left out Matt. Sorry, Matt.
Poor. I feel bad for him. Seriously, hit me up on Facebook. We'll either do an episode of Advance with you, or we'll get you on the postseason podcast, which will be 2 weeks from tonight. Well, it'll either be Tuesday or Wednesday, but it'll be in 2 weeks. So thanks to the guys that came on. Reese, thanks for coming on, staying on with us for the duration of it, and picking games with us.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. Like kind of what Bailey was saying, man, definitely appreciate the effort and the time that you guys put into this, and I think that we all put into this. But as far as the commissioners go, you guys, this is a real old machine, best league out. So appreciate for having me, man. Keep it up. And besides having MVP on, I think the podcast was kind of cool. that shit just got weird when he came on. I don't know what happened.
The thing about MVP is he's one of those guys that, like, on Facebook will talk shit and stuff, but when you get him on the phone, it was the same way. It was the exact same way with Han. Like, I remember back in the day when Han would come on these things, and you would expect like the world's cockiest guy to be on the phone, and then you talk to him and it's like, oh man, he's just like a regular down-to-earth guy. So that's one reason why I kind of wanted to get him on, because I knew he'd talk shit from the get-go, and then we'd get into the conversation, and it was just going to be like, all right, we're all just a bunch of dudes who like playing Madden, so no reason to fight about it. Reese, I am glad to hear that you and the fam are safe. I'm glad to hear your kids are off where it's really safe in Dallas. Glad things are getting better for you, so we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Appreciate it.
Sham, thanks for coming on again, as always.
Fuck you, Stokes.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. RVD couldn't be with us tonight, but I would imagine will be back with us on the end of season podcast, and he'll also be sprinkled in on a few episodes of AFL Advance whenever he's got time. Stokes, any final thoughts for the people before we sign off?
Pray for my running backs, please. Pray for me.
I will not be doing that. I will actually be doing what Sham told me to do, which is praying for more injuries in Houston. Sham, what time is Mass tonight? All right, guys. Thanks for hopping on tonight. It was fun, and we will see you next time on our AFL podcast. Oh, we got a fest happening in PS4. Is that in chat, or is that on Facebook?